Yes.
A little more mellow.
24-karat magic by Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars has never been played after a loss. That's way too poppy and upbeat.
Yeah, we'll have to make a slight adjustment on that. It is Cody and Gold.
Just
Alex
the first
Gold,
one, at least, you know?
Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you on a Red Friday. That is brought to you by ComCare. Call or text 988 for 24/7 mental health support. Well, yesterday we were talking about this game, and I think we actually said this specifically. We said, hey, we all think the Chiefs are going to win. Wouldn't be surprised they lose unless you told me they only scored like 20 points. I swear that's what we said. And, they only scored 20 points on offense in the 21-20 loss, of course, to the Detroit Lions. And you have to start with the wide receivers. I mean, that was a conversation all offseason, and it is the biggest issue with last night's game. We can get into Andy Reid and short yardage. Don't worry. We'll talk a little bit about Chris Jones hanging out in a suite and all that, Cody. But the wide receivers had an opportunity with Travis Kelce not playing last night to show that they're capable without their number one receiving option, in fairness, of Travis Kelce. They're capable to go out and be effective, that they got 7 active wide receivers, that somebody would be a consistent target, or multiple guys could be a consistent target. And the only guy that really got open on a semi-consistent basis was the guy that couldn't catch the ball last night. And that was Kadarius Toney. I've never, and I know it's after last night, sometimes we say crazy things. I'm serious. Have you ever seen a wide receiver in the National Football League, especially with a quarterback of the quality of Patrick Mahomes throwing in the ball, have a worse night after being targeted as much as he was, that literally could not catch the football no matter where the pass was thrown? And most notably the pick six, where we've all seen the screenshot. The ball is, it can't be any better. And it turns into a pick freaking six the other way.
It was one of the single worst nights I've ever seen any Chiefs player play ever. I mean, you would borderline have to be like a left tackle and give up like 5 sacks in 20 snaps to compare. He played in 12 or 13 snaps. I don't remember the exact number. It's right around there. He had 4 drops, one of which led to a pick six, as you pointed out. And he had a negative yard gain. And 2 of those drops were in the fourth quarter, one at the most pivotal moment of the game.
Right through the hands of Toney.
It was
over and over and over.
I'll be honest. If you want to be doomsday on the wide receivers today, oh my. If I wanted to take a victory lap to be like, hey, they're unproven and I want to see way more and I don't know why everyone's so confident, this would be the easiest victory lap day of the century. Sky Moore had 0 catches and led the receivers in routes run. Their best receiver last night was either MVS, who I think just did MVS things, or Justin Watson, objectively not a good thing. Toney was miserable. Mm-hmm. It was bleak. It was real bleak at wide receiver. Here's the one thing I will say, and I know that nobody wants to hear much positivity right now. Weirdly enough, it is easier for me to feel better about Toney today than Sky Moore, even though Toney decidedly had the way worse game, even though Sky Moore had 0 catches. The reason why is because Toney's things I can excuse away. Hasn't practiced in 6 weeks. I told you I thought that there was going to be a limit on how much they could use him in this game because of how little of practice and run-up he had had. The drops could be equated to just not getting that practice time, those mistakes. He was at least kind of getting open. Sky Moore was a ghost. For 4 full quarters, we saw him near the ball like twice. One was a drop. One was a good play by the defensive player. But, such a bad performance from the receivers. We can get to the other parts of the game, but that stood out the most, right?
I think, if you're the only really positive out of the wide receiver room was Rashee Rice, guys. That was it whatsoever. I thought the few times he was targeted, he was one of the guys that was consistent. Got his first touchdown, his first catch, I should say, of his career. That was it. You're right, though. Toney was getting separation, and if you want to, I know Andy Reid and Mahomes after the game, Mahomes particularly said, hey, he missed a lot of practice. We'll see. Like that can be something that you can hold on to after week 1. We'll see in 2 weeks when that's not an excuse or a reason. Is that still an issue? And that's why, overall, I still think when we've discussed the wide receiver room, we've talked big picture, long term. You and I have joked about how long Kelce can play for this organization and everything. The one thing that you look at, I think we had said consistently, is you don't have to have a legit number 1 because you have Travis Kelce. Well,
that was never more true than last night.
They didn't have Kelce last night, and we saw what happened. And even with all that, somehow, some way, late in the game, if Tony just catches one of them, still would have been a rough night, but just catches one, they would have been in field goal range. Butker probably kicks like a 40-yarder, and we're like, wow, they played terrible, and they still won 23-21. We're not saying that today, obviously, because he dropped a wide-open pass late in that game. I mean, it was remarkable. You could not have imagined the wide receiver room as a whole looking worse than they did last night. And this is not only the importance of Kelce being ready for the Jags game, but if you're Tony, while you're happy that he got separation, Cody, I think there's a real concern that he has to bounce back quickly. Otherwise, you have to worry if you lose him for the season. What I mean by that is, I think he deleted his Twitter account today. We can double check. I believe it's deleted.
Yes.
Yeah, he's deleted his Twitter account. You have to worry about the confidence angle and the mental side of this. I think it's very important that he, next week against the Jags, goes out and has a decent performance, not just for the team, but for his own good. Otherwise, I worry that you have a trickle-down effect, and it's hard to get him back. We'll see. I hope that's not the case. But I think he has to jump back into it.
That's one of the most confidence-destroying games of all time. Now,
Absolutely.
What we can say is that Andy Reid is actually one of the better coaches at helping people get over that. How surprised would you be if the very first play of the game against the Jags goes to Tony?
That's a good call.
You know he loves doing that, man. You know Andy likes doing that. But I mean, I like it was the scary part about it is that they all let him down because the notion of, hey, this is Brett Veach's fault and these are the wide receivers he put together. Weirdly enough, Mahomes played well enough that this should have worked. They should have won. They should have won with those wide receivers against what is a good NFC team. They should have won it because Tony was not the only person who dropped the football yesterday, by the way. There were like 8 drops in the game. If even half of those, which by the way is a terrible drop rate, 50%, you wouldn't even, you don't even want that amount.
Right.
But even if they have 2 to 3 drops, a normal amount for any given NFL football game, they're definitely winning that game. It is the easiest thing. And I'm not saying they should have, or I'm just telling you, that is a game they easily could have won, should have won. It was one of their better defensive performances in 2 years on this team, which we can talk about in a minute. But the wide receiver, it's hard to shake because that was the single biggest off-season talking point for the show. To the point that you and I, before the show, prepping for these things, go to be like, man, do we really got to talk about the wide receivers again? And everybody's on the text line. Cody, you're a Sky hater. You're a Kadarius Toney hater. Oh, you just hate Richie James. I'm like, no, I just don't know anything about any of them.
It's an unproven group. Now, again, I'm still not, after one game, going to say that Kadarius Toney is going to have 50 drops this year and all this, and that
50 drops and negative 48 rushing yards.
And that Sky Moore is going to have 20 catches. No, I think that's obviously an overreaction, but it just speaks to how much the offense does flow through Travis Kelce, which we already knew, and how far I think they have to come to progress. Last year, when there was concerns in the Colts game, they still were able to quickly progress as a unit. And when you do have so many unproven guys and young guys in the wide receiver room, is it going to take longer than we thought to get some of these guys up to speed? We'll see. Hopefully with Tony, it's just a little bit of what you said before the game yesterday, Cody, which is that, hey, he hadn't practiced. He wasn't judging the ball very well in the air. Clearly some timing was off. I hope that's the case. If not, they're going to have to make some adjustments. I mean, as much as we joked about Justin Ross, well, if Tony and Sky Moore struggle the way they did last night, well, then you got 2 weeks to figure it out, in my opinion. After that, then Richie James and Justin Ross and these other guys and Justin Watson will need to be given more opportunities. They were rotating all 7 of those guys in throughout the entire game. I don't think they know for sure who they can count on yet whatsoever in that wide receiver room. That's something that I think might take some time, but none of us thought it was going to be as disastrous as it was last night, because even when the play design was correct and the routes were run properly, they just couldn't catch the damn football last night, which overall, it wasn't just that. It was also something that we've discussed for multiple years. Short yardage situations again cropped up for Kansas City. For an offensive mind that is one of the best in NFL history in Andy Reid, we all know that. He's one of the great minds, could be a Hall of Famer. For whatever reason, time and time again, 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, 4th and 1, I don't care what it is, they cannot figure it out. They invest in this offensive line. We've acknowledged the interior might be one of the best in football, period. We know they won't do the little QB sneak because of the knee issue years ago from Mahomes. It scared Andy Reid away. Okay, that's fine if you're not going to do the QB sneak. But getting cute every single time you're trying 3rd and 1, the Blake Bell thing, throw the damn thing in the trash. I'm sorry. It's not even Blake Bell's fault, but throw any Blake Bell package on short yardage in
Definitely
the
throw
damn
that Rasheed
trash.
Rice play in the trash.
Get rid of it. Hell, bring in Blaine Gabbert on a QB sneak, and you can say, well, they'll know you're going to do a QB sneak. They know what you're doing when Blake Bell is in there, man. At least with Blaine Gabbert, there's the chance you might actually pass it occasionally out of it.
Which is why you should
My
just.
goodness.
By the way, if you're just going to do an end around, well, then just leave Mahomes in there. No offense. If the play is the end around and it's meant to confuse them, then just let Patrick Mahomes take the football. I just don't. The short yardage thing is one of the more baffling things because, for the most part, we don't have a lot to complain about here covering the Chiefs. They have a 2-time MVP winner, a 2-time Super Bowl winner. Andy Reid is a great play caller for the most part. He's very creative. He gets guys open. So there isn't a lot like daily, like regular things to be like, how is this still a problem? I cannot for the life of me understand how they are still this bad at short yardage. They have invested more than any other portion of the entire team on the offensive line. Why wouldn't you? Just help me. I need Andy to explain it to me. Why would you, if you spend second-round picks, you're going to pay these guys money, you're going to have Creed and Trey and Tooney. You gave Jawan Taylor $80 million. Why have you invested this amount of money and will not just simply tell them you have to get a yard? Isaiah Pacheco's like the perfect straight forward 1-yard running back. So, like, I can't. It doesn't make sense that they're bad in short yardage. They should actually be good at it.
31 other teams in the league have figured it out. And I'm not saying I don't know if the Chiefs ended up ranking dead last year. I can't remember how bad ultimately it was on 3rd and 1. Again, when you feel more confident to just go ahead and pass the ball every 3rd and 1 because of this, that's a serious problem. As great as Patrick Mahomes is, if you feel that their best chance of getting a yard, Cody, is passing the football, well, it's a problem. Like last night when there was not Travis Kelce, you're relying on Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney to be able to go out and make plays in situations like that. But you should be able to go even without a fullback because, by the way, it's not a fullback problem. They had a fullback last year. They still couldn't figure it out last year with Michael Burton. So it's not like, hey, man, they need a fullback. No, that's not the issue.
Have they tried consistently? Let me just, let's say they have the next 10 3rd and 1 plays. If they ran all 10 up the middle, there is almost no way you can tell me it would have less of a success rate than the way they're currently doing it. Just try it for me. For me, Andy, 10 straight plays. 3rd and 1, run it either to the left or to the right, up the middle, directly at the defense. No trickery. No, I don't care. You can throw in one play action if you want. 9 times. You run it straight at them and see if the offensive line has the kind of push. Because they do have a top 5 offensive line. I think what Carrington pointed out when he's on the roundtable is right, where the Lions trusted their top 5 offensive line in those moments. It's one of those, like, Andy has like 5 things that he's never changed in his entire coaching career. And some of them, honestly, I don't care about. One is he forgets to run the ball. I don't care. He has Patrick Mahomes. I don't care. Oh, no, Andy forgot to run the ball. I'll live. Right? One is that he won't tell his special teams coach to not return kicks. I'll let that one go. There are things he's never changed in a 20-year NFL career. But this one, just run the ball. You don't have to be the genius on these plays. That's all it is. It's just letting go of the ego and being like, you don't have to be a genius. Just run it up the middle.
Yeah, we've talked about like the play calling arrogance before on the show at times that has cropped up under Andy Reid. And yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It really is mind-boggling how, I mean, like you said, if they were to go through and just line up in, like an old school I formation or just even go out a single back and just run it straight up the middle, halfback dive with Pacheco. And if they missed it, Cody, and they didn't get the yard, people would be frustrated. But at least I still think their percentage of getting it would be better considering the bodies that they should have up front that should be able to move the line of scrimmage a little bit to go get a damn yard. It's in teams that don't think they can do that, they go QB sneak. Well, you're not willing to do either. And that's why you sit in the spot here on 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s where you can't actually get that yard.
I did think overall, I know that I think Smith got beat up a little bit from a good pass rush from the Lions, and I think Trey Smith did not have a particularly good game. But overall, I didn't hate the offensive line play.
Yeah.
I thought Patrick Mahomes had, for the most part, a good amount of time to throw. It's not like he was getting sacked a bunch. Yeah, he had to do some escaping, But some of that escaping was coming after 2-3 seconds when wide receivers clearly weren't open and he was having to just improvise in order to make it work. I actually thought the offensive line played well overall. I'm not here to tell you everyone had a great night. I thought Trey, maybe more than anybody, struggled, but they overall looked like the unit I thought they would be going into this thing, where they're going to hold their own even against teams like Detroit that have a couple of good pass rushers.
I think a lot of it was to get the wide receiver separation or lack of it, because it would be a couple seconds and you would see Mahomes try to look downfield and then and kind of have to hesitate and then decide to take off. He was the leading rusher for this team last night, and they were able to move the chains a couple times because of Mahomes' legs, which is fine. I'm not saying that can't happen, but it seemed like he was having to bail out fairly quickly, not because of the O-line, but almost because he knew there was no receiving options down the field. And this is where Travis Kelce is so vital for them, right? Because how many times do we see that where he's able to kind of bail out of the pocket and Kelce is able to improvise, and they didn't have that last night. I mean, that still is the key to the offense. If you're not going to have a number one wide receiver, then you got to have Travis Kelce. And that's always been consistent when it's been like, hey, why didn't they draft a wide receiver in the first round? Why do you care? Why should they do it? Why shouldn't they do it? And it's like, they don't have to do it until they don't have Travis Kelce. And last night was a wake-up call that if Kelce were to miss time, especially right now early in the season when maybe Rashee Rice hasn't developed, that's a problem. It's a considerable. Remember, this was a Lions defense last year, guys, that was bottom tier. Both defenses played really well last night, the Chiefs included. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But the Lions defense, this isn't the 49ers defense they were facing last night, and the wide receivers just couldn't get open. This is a Lions defense who, while Aiden Hutchinson's the real deal, and they added a linebacker out of Iowa that they drafted, this isn't a Lions defense that's expected to be one of the top 10 or 15 defenses in football.
I think that was one of the things. I don't know if Trent Green brought it up in the middle of preseason or if this is something that's just been talked about before, but that cohesiveness that Mahomes has with Kelce and then it was with Tyreek Hill, they could improvise and they would hot route whatever they were doing because they knew Patrick was getting pressured. They would go wherever the open zone is, and Patrick would find them because he's capable of doing that. Where, I mean, Sky Moore had 3 targets, ran 31 routes in the game. I mean, that's a great deal of separation in terms of, hey, you ran 31 routes and you were throwing the ball only 3 times.
Yeah.
Couldn't get open. I mean, I think that's one of the things that they don't necessarily have right now, especially with Kelce out, is a guy that can improvise and get open when Mahomes needs them to, and as a result, he holds onto the ball longer.
A lot of people on the text line I mentioned, you guys are about the offensive line. What about the false starts for Jawan Taylor? That's interesting. That's probably a deeper conversation we can have with another former NFL player, because
it's just jarring to look at. I'll be honest. It's not. I don't like it.
The broadcast, I guess, mentioned it
a
bunch during the game, and if what we've talked about with Trey Smith, actually, the offensive line camp that a lot of these old linemen go to, and one of the former NFL players that runs that camp put out a video a year ago explaining, because everybody a year ago thought Jawan Taylor, who was on the Jags, said, hey, man, this guy's false starting all the time. And he goes through, and I retweeted it on Twitter at Alex Gold. I think Cody might have as well, at Cody B. Tap. And he explains it's not. He's actually bending the rule a little bit. It's not a false start. I'm not telling you Jawan Taylor never false starts, but hey, he's false starting every play thing, he's done that his entire NFL career. It looks like a false start, but it's not. I didn't know that until I saw the video. I encourage you to watch the longer video, way too long to play on the show. But he explains it. There's a loophole in just how he's able to do that. That's why it's not called. Also, if the Chiefs thought he was false starting every play, he would have had you know what I'm saying? He's been in the league long enough. He does go back and look. In Jacksonville, he did the same thing.
He was doing it in the preseason too.
Again, it's not that he doesn't false start. The weird thing with him was the alignment. He was a line. They were joking on the broadcast. Like he was lined up like a slot wide receiver or whatever. That was the weirder part, was how far off the line he was aligned. But the false start thing, it's not a false start.
It's kind of bizarre that, and they must have known this when they obviously traded or when they signed him, that this type of player it is. But I get where the text line's coming from. It 1,000% looks like he's false starting 30, 35, 40 times in a game. But if last night he was called for it 0 times, who the hell are we to complain? The other teams can hate it as much as they want. You as a Chiefs fan shouldn't care. It can look like a false start. You know what's funny about this is we had this conversation. It was like a couple weeks after because, we're celebrating when the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Chiefs fans in the moment were complaining so much about this with Lane Johnson in the Super Bowl because he does the same thing, and it definitely looks like a false start, but the league doesn't If the league doesn't call it, who cares? I don't. Gold, do you?
I don't know why. Again, it's just also how he plays. Like that, he's done it since he was in Jacksonville.
One more quick thing on the wide receiver. Anybody else think that the rotations were weird? So I thought, and this is part of probably what comes from like the learning process of the wide receivers and having Kelsey would help, but I felt like they had something going with Rice, and then he's just off the field for 10 plays. And then they're trying to work back in. I'm like, they're going to have to find a better or get back around in rotation faster or something, right, Gold? Like, there's some little hitch in their giddy up to me in the, like, we're throwing all these wide receivers in, but without consistency. I kind of feel like they have to do it the way that NFL quarterback or NFL coaches talk about running back. Hot hand. If Rashee Rice is getting open and catching passes, sorry, Sky, you get less snaps. If Sky Moore's getting open catching passes, great, it's your day. I think it's just about like throwing the numbers out there until somebody's having some success in this thing, and then you just got to ride them out.
Yeah,
almost,
I don't
right?
know if
don't keep pulling.
I don't know if they shrink the rotation as the season goes on. It's week 1. Remember, 7 wide receivers were active last night, so they clearly
Justin Ross got a catch.
Yeah, they planned on using all of them. They were active for a reason, not just for special teams purposes. But I think that's where, in a week or two, if there are still struggles from Sky Moore and anybody else, do you whittle down the rotation a little bit? Do you try to utilize Justin Watson a little bit more? I know that's not something anybody wants to hear. You want it to be Rashee Rice. You want it to be Kadarius Toney. Those are bigger playmaker potential athleticism-wise. But at some point, you have to go with who you can rely on. I think earlier on the roundtable, Fesco brought up, do you worry about the confidence that Mahomes has in certain wide receivers like Kadarius Toney? Not yet. I think that's something in 3 weeks, if it's still continuing and it's still a problem, then yeah. I think next week against Jacksonville is just massive for a wide variety of reasons. But for Kadarius Toney, he doesn't need to go for 110 yards, but he needs to go through a game without any drops, get some confidence back, and everybody can hopefully settle down and move on. But last night was absolutely dreadful. It was pathetic. There was one thing, though, that I actually was pleasantly surprised about. It was on the defensive side of the ball. We'll get to that, and a massive contract. Interesting timing for your guy, Joe Burrow. Drew, we'll talk about that next.
Chiefs fans, it's Jawan Taylor. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. So add those human pawns, loved ones, and save money. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
This is Royals Hall of Famer Mike Sweeney. The Royals and the See You in the Major Leagues Foundation are teaming up with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City to recognize outstanding high school sport coaches through the Blue KC Coaches with Character program. We'll recognize 6 coaches as a Blue KC Coach with Character. Each honoree will receive a Royals VIP package and more. To nominate an area high school coach, go to seeyouinthemajorleagues.org/BlueKC.
Want a new car at a used car price? I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lee Summit. Right now, we have a surplus of new cars, so everything is seriously discounted.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV. Hurry in before we run out of 2023s.
Don't miss our surplus sale at the #1 Volkswagen dealer in the Midwest. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Based on 20
2022 VW Retail Reports. Financing through VCIOAC. Call 816-841-7383 for details.
Barbecue Whiskey Hotline, how can I help you? You're looking for a delicious barbecue whiskey that fires up any party? With the sweet, smoky, mind-blowing taste of a barbecue Bloody Mary? The exceptional and unforgettable flavor of a smoky pineapple margarita? Yeah, that would be Curveball Barbecue Whiskey. Curveball with a K. That's Curveball Barbecue Whiskey. Delicious barbecue meets the smooth taste of American whiskey. Happy to help.
Drink Curveball and be a bonehead responsibly. Over 21. Find Curveball at Target, Hy-Vee, and Lucas Liquors, or ask your liquor store for Curveball Whiskey. That's Curveball with a K. Curveball Barbecue Whiskey.
If you own or run a restaurant, I'm sure you'd rather it be known for its 5-star rating, not a 5-alarm fire. Keller Fire and Safety installs and services fire alarm systems, extinguishers, and kitchen hood suppression systems to keep your kitchen safer and better prepared to contain an emergency. Keller can handle any size project, with clients as large as Kauffman Stadium and as small as your local barbecue joint. Because charred, smoked, and blackened should only refer to menu items, not the rest of your restaurant.
Keller Fire and Safety.
KellerFire.com.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Here's another Outdoor America fishing tip presented by Wholesale Batteries. The right battery the first time. Here's the host of Outdoor America, Tommy Bench.
Have you ever broke off on a big fish before? I know I have. Here's one tip that's going to save you a lot of hassle and a lot of frustration on the water. Retie every time after landing a big fish or getting hung up. There's nothing worse than breaking off on a big fish because you had a little kink in your line, or because there was a fray from where that fish took you down to some deep water, or you was dragging along some rough terrain and got a little nick on it. It takes 30 seconds or less to retie. Don't be afraid to retie often. The worst case you're losing is a few seconds, and that's your tip of the week.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, heard every Saturday morning at 5 a.m. on 610 Sports Radio, presented by Wholesale Batteries.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car really needs a wash.
The $20 McGuire's bundle includes Gold Class Car Wash for a showroom shine.
Get in zone.
And what about my tires?
Just spray the included Hot Shine tire coating and you're all set.
Get in zone.
The inside is not great.
No problem. The quick interior detailer in the bundle can help with that too.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Hold up, you're using Swiffer Power Mop? What would Mom say?
Oh, she'd be like, a mopping bucket is the only way to deep clean your floors. And I'd be like, Mom, this is the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one that gets you a mop and bucket clean in half the time.
She'd never believe you.
I'd say, look, the solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket. And the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get into grout lines. That's why you're the smart one.
Really?
What? Mom said it.
The new Swiffer Power Mop. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
This receiver trio is scary, and it does start with Scary Terry himself there. He's good, man, and I it's just, can we get normal quarterback play for this guy for once in his career? Because you're right. I mean, no shade to ODU's finest Taylor Heineke, but he was literally a backup quarterback in the XFL, and he's probably the best player that Washington has rolled out at quarterback in Terry's career.
Subscribe to Reception Perception, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Stop in now to enjoy the key lime pie concrete.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
Third down and 6 for the Chiefs at their own 46. 14-7 Kansas City. 4 minutes deep into the third quarter. Wide blitz coming, and a pass is going to be intercepted off a deflection off Tony. Coming back to the near side, this is going to be a pick six for the Detroit Lions. A pick six by rookie Brian Branch of Alabama off the arm of Kadarius Toney. And the Lions can tie the game with a defensive score.
Mitch Holthus on the call, the pick six. What a dagger that was. We've all seen the replay where, it is right in the breadbasket of one Kadarius Toney, the rookie for the Lions, comes up.
Directly in his hands.
Yeah, man. That was, there's so many drops. That one, of course, directly related to points. And that's why, you look at the score, you give up 20 points, 21 points if you're the Chiefs. But defensively, the defense gave up 14. And we'll talk about Chris Jones sitting in that very expensive suite ticket for him since he wasn't getting the game check.
As expensive as yours?
Yeah, his was a little bit more expensive. So mine did not cost me $1 million because if he was sitting on the bench, he would have been making $1 million. So it was about $1 million seat for Chris Jones. And we'll talk more about him. But I didn't think, looking at the game, I said, man, Chris Jones, they better be rushing and paying him whatever he wants now. That wasn't what I thought. I thought the defense last night was actually impressive throughout the entire evening. Did they wear out late? Would they have been better with Chris Jones on the field? Of course. Duh. Nobody's suggesting otherwise. But that wasn't the biggest reason by any means why they lost that football game. I was very impressed. They got 14 points to an offense that was top tier in the league last year and that we think will still be top tier in the league. An offensive line that was very, very good. I thought the secondary held up for the most part. It doesn't mean they were perfect, right? 3rd and 12 was a big conversion, obviously.
And they gave up the touchdown drive after the punt conversion.
Yeah.
They ended up letting them go the rest of the way down the field.
The defense did their job. Special teams wasn't ready for the fake, and then all of a sudden you're asking your defense to do more. But McDuffie forced the fumble. We talked about him getting interceptions, right? But he forced a fumble that obviously was a huge swing in the game as well. I actually come away feeling better about the defense after last night, knowing that at some point they're going to get Chris Jones back. That wasn't oh my gosh, defense was horrific, better go pay Chris whatever he wants game at all.
I felt fantastic about the defense. Am I way off base here? That was the 3rd highest scoring offense in the NFL last year. They added a running back in the top 12 of the NFL draft, and they added a relatively highly touted tight end in Sam Laporta, who did have a couple of catches in the game last night. They also have one of the best young wide receivers in the NFL, in Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was open a lot in that game, granted. But Nick Bolton was a beast. He was everywhere. Trent McDuffie, again, was a star. He forced the fumble that stopped the Lions on a drive. He was everywhere. Even on the pass, he was giving up stuff. He's right near his defender. The defensive line got pressure without Chris Jones. Mike Dana got to the quarterback a little bit. Felix Anudike-Uzomah got to the quarterback a little bit.
That was a pleasant surprise.
He didn't get a sack, but he was in the face of the quarterback a couple of times. They got some pressure. Their secondary was good. Their linebacker crew was good. They held a top-flight offense to 14 points offensively. There is no way not to feel good about the. It's the only thing in the game where I'm like, I felt fine about Mahomes, by the way, because he had 8 drops work against him, and the pick he threw wasn't his. But the only other thing to feel great about was the defense. Like, as a unit, they played really well against the Lions, I thought.
Look, if I would have said yesterday that the defense would give up 14 points or that in general the Lions would only score 21, we all would have been saying, oh, man, the Chiefs are going to blow them out. Right? We would have said, man, if the Lions only score 21 points, the Chiefs are winning this thing by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I would have thought, easy win.
The concern going in was whether or not the defense could hold up. That, hey, maybe we're going to be in store for a shootout. Yeah, you maybe had unproven receivers, but you still figured this offense was going to put up points. And it's very rare. We had a stat earlier, I can't remember. Very rare that the Chiefs' defense only gives up 21 and the Chiefs lose under the Mahomes era.
If the defense had a bad game, the Chiefs might lose by 10 or 15 points. The bummer of this is to take that defensive performance and still lose. Like when the Chiefs hold their opponent to 21 points or less, which is what happened last night, even giving them the pick six. When the Chiefs hold their opponents to 21 points or less, they are 41-3. They were 41-2 in those games because of how good their offense is, which means if the defense ever plays like this, it is borderline a guaranteed win. You know, the only two other losses besides this one are to the, you can guess the team.
Well, one was last year.
Two?
That would be the Colts.
Same team. It's the Colts every time. It's always, this was a very Colts game, as a matter of fact, the way that they lose, which is it's ugly the whole time. They should win it. Something crumbles at the end and they lose, which is how the very few losses they suffer over the course of their schedule happen. No, I told you going into the season, I thought this defense had a chance to be much better than last year's defense because I thought the secondary would have a whole nother year to improve. I thought the linebackers were better. And assuming Chris Jones was back, I thought the pass rush had a chance to be just as good as last year's as well. I thought they had a chance to improve. Last year made me feel even better about that notion. Because last night, that was one of the better performances I've seen from the Chiefs defense in 2 years. And they didn't even have their best defensive player on the field.
Pro Football Focus has the 3 linebackers as all included in the top 5 in terms of their grades. They had 7 total pressures and one sack, but 11 total hurries on Jared Goff.
Nick Bolton, he absolutely ruined Jahmyr Gibbs on that play.
He did. I think, Drew Tranquill, a new addition, comes over from the Chargers, and some of it is maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, the hype, of course, gets out of control before a season starts, and we'll see. The Lions probably need to use Jahmyr Gibbs more than they did yesterday. But I thought Drew Tranquill was key in coverage. That's why Jahmyr Gibbs didn't go off for 60-plus yards receiving or whatever in the game. I thought the athleticism of Drew Tranquill on top of what you already knew you get from Willie Gay Jr. really stood out, and that's a big reason why they had success doing that. Of course, this team is better with Chris Jones. They need to get Chris Jones back. But last night we had conversations for weeks like, hey, what happens if on Thursday night they lose to the Lions? What happens if the Chiefs blow out the Lions? Like, you'd be way more concerned thinking you need to hurry up and to meet the demands of Chris Jones if the Chiefs would have won last night and it was 51-44. You'd be like, wow, they couldn't stop it whatsoever. Chris Jones needs to be back in Kansas City, and we'll talk about him sitting in the suite last night. But this is a team that last night defensively didn't make you feel more panic that Chris Jones isn't here, in my opinion, at all.
No, I know they only got the one sack, but I feel very good about the pressure.
The most difficult situation for them was they get that penalty, or the Lions have that penalty, crowd's going nuts. It's 3rd and 12, and and Snead almost got to Jared Goff, but he was able to float that ball in there, and that was a little bit of a killer because then the offensive line just took over on that drive and ended up scoring.
But that's the thing, offense is as good as Detroit's was last year. They're supposed to get you sometimes. That's just the reality of the situation. To say you gave up 14 total points on defense, the hell did you do wrong? All right, you gave up 1 3rd and 12. Well, Detroit's defense gave up a 3rd and 17. They're not banging on their defense this morning. You know why? Because they ended up squeezing out the win. I get it. At the end of the game, when the defense was out of gas and David Montgomery was just running it up their gut, that sucked. Yeah, that's a tough moment of the game. You cannot ask the Chiefs defense to do more than they did last night. That's impossible. We always talk about where the wins and losses are from. That one is firmly on the offense last night. Specifically, probably the wide receiver crew in the running game, but it wasn't on the defense in any way. No, by the way, of all the players, Trent McDuffie made me feel the best. He looks so good. He is a great tackler. He's a great cover guy. We talked about turnovers. We always talk about interceptions. Yep. I don't care. He got the turnover last night for him. Wasn't an interception, but he's the man who forced it. And so I felt really good about his performance specifically.
913-586-7610, the Jay Southland Tow Service text line. Someone said, you don't understand football. The offense isn't under pressure if the D holds them to 7 to 10 points and they win the game. Now they have to play 2 more games before they can have a winning record. I don't know if that's like a troll text or whatever it may be.
Well, I mean, it is the first game of the season.
Are they holding an NFL, let alone the Lions who are a top offense, holding any NFL team to 7 to 10 points?
Again,
excuse me?
If the Chiefs hold an opposing team to less than 21, which they did last night, they are 41-3.
Yeah.
They would have a winning percentage during that time of, hold on, please, 41 divided by, 93%. Are you telling me right now, Texan, you wouldn't take a winning percentage of 93%? I will take that defensive performance 1,000 times out of 1,000.
To compare it to last year, guys, if you gave up 21 points a game, you would rank 4th in the NFL in total defense. If you gave up up 14 points, you'd be 1st in the league.
Yeah, that's why saying the defense didn't do enough that's just not directing the blame in the wrong area. We'll talk to Pete Sweeney about all this, by the way, coming up 20 minutes. Our Chiefs insider from Arrowhead Pride. He was at the game last night. I want to get his reaction to all of this as well. We haven't even addressed the elephant in our room, our literal studio today.
Yeah,
if you're watching,
is this a troll job, man?
If you're watching on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, we've got our 3 cameras, and Cody and I are just wearing normal clothes, whatever.
Yeah, just
and,
a jacket and a shirt.
I was walking in today, and as I was parking, I saw Drew get out of his car, start walking, and what is Drew wearing today?
With him?
I did, because I shouted at him as he was running. And I said, oh, look who we got here. And Drew's wearing a Cincinnati Bengals jersey today.
It's not even a jersey. It's like a hoodie jersey?
No, it looks like a jersey.
It is a jersey over a hoodie.
Okay.
Oh, wait, so that's a Bengals hoodie underneath? Or is it just an orange hoodie?
I'm decked out. It is a Bengals hoodie.
Now, is this because it's a Friday before a game? Is this because Joe Burrow signed a deal? Or is this because your biggest challenger to your Cincinnati Bengals lost last night to the Detroit Lions?
No, I picked you guys to win. I picked the Chiefs to win. I think I have the Chiefs as the number 1 seed in the AFC, so let's
You're 27. Were you even old enough to remember when A.J. Green was good?
Oh, yeah.
Been a long-ass time since that
A.J. Green is my guy. Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised you're rocking the A.J. Green jersey. We got to get you, a Chiefs jersey, but you got to get a Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow also just signed a massive contract, which was your team trying to steal the spotlight before the game or something?
There was a little bit of jealousy, I think, from the Bengals last night.
The deal came out 5 years, $275, record extension.
3 minutes into the game?
Yeah, and we said we thought it would actually happen on Friday, heading into the weekend. It happened right before the game. If they really wanted to steal the thunder, they should have announced it 45 minutes before the game. They would have talked about it during the pregame show and all that. That was bizarre timing for your guy, Joe Burrow.
Not bizarre, intentional.
Oh, it's totally intentional.
Cincinnati's organization is jealous of the Chiefs' success. They have what is until they win something, they'll have losers mentality, which is we've never accomplished anything of any importance. So we will try to steal spotlight from those who have it. And that's what happened last night, don't you think? By the way, massive contract.
Oh, huge numbers,
so
man.
much
219
money.
Guaranteed.
Oh my God.
275 overall, but yeah, 219
so
guaranteed.
55 million?
Highest, average 55 mil.
Man.
The biggest cap hits, I think, are 20. So this is an extension to his deal. He's through 2029, I think, or 2030, or to 2030. But the biggest cap hits, I think somebody posted the numbers are 2027, 2028, and 2029. They're 50. It's 58 million, 71 million, 59 million.
So they have 3-4 years before Burrow's number gets to be one of the top numbers in the league. Jamar Chase is probably a year away from getting paid, and he's going to be the top paid wide receiver in football. Things get a little more interesting. That's one thing we've acknowledged. We've seen the Chiefs be able, with Brett Veach, despite the frustrations last night, it's one game, to build a championship roster while having a quarterback making X amount of money, while we think having a defensive tackle making one of the largest contracts. We'll see.
I kind of thought that was going to be the case.
I mean, his cap hit this year is one of the largest at $28 million, right? Cap hit $19 million cash. But guaranteed money, Burrow, and this tells you how ridiculous the Deshaun Watson deal was. Guaranteed money. Deshaun Watson, his contract's still $230 million guaranteed. Joe Burrow, the brand new one, $219.01. And Justin Herbert, $193. Kyler Murray, $189.5 million, as far as guaranteed money. So Joe Burrow, and this is how nuts the Watson deal is, man. Joe Burrow's still $11 million lower guaranteed money than what Deshaun Watson got.
The one big thing out of this contract that everybody's been missing is that is fantastic news for the Chiefs It was not a 10-year deal. 5-year extensions are decidedly way better for Kansas City because Mahomes was also an extension of his original deal. It was a 12-year contract. They locked up Mahomes for 5 full extra years, gave him all that flexibility. I thought if there was one quarterback who's going to do the same weirdo, look at all this stuff we can move around, contract stuff, as Mahomes, it was going to be Burrow. And nope, he just signed the normal, old, regular, here's all of your money extension. Perfect.
I was convinced it was going to happen because Joe just recently said, I want to be here forever. I think I can be here forever. I was waiting for a deal that was like 7 or 8 years at least, and it just didn't come.
By the way, the 913, Drew is dead to me. Wait, this kid is a Bengals fan. Somebody's calling for Speck to be fired for hiring you.
There was
Not
one
asking for you to be fired, asking Speck to be fired just for hiring you.
Someone did text in, oh yeah, who day, LOL. Look what you've done. Look what you've done today. This a
You
bold?
could have just waited to wear that
bold.
until Sunday.
Very bold. The
It's
day
aggressive.
after the Chiefs
It's-
season
it's-
opening
I
loss,
know.
you're
It's
wearing
a hostile act.
Cincinnati gear.
But if you're in my head, I'm not even thinking about the game last Sunday. I'm looking ahead to Sunday.
Do they do like a Red Friday thing, but for Cincinnati fans? Like,
I
do
have
they
no
all
clue.
wear their gear? Okay, so then you're just wearing Cincy gear on a
No,
Friday.
I'm from Indianapolis. I'm sure they do. I have no idea what they do in Cincinnati.
Okay.
But you normally wear your team's gear on Fridays. Is what you're
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
Man, somehow if Cleveland pulls off the upset on Sunday,
I would not be surprised if it happens.
Cleveland beats Cincinnati like
I'm
all the
saying,
time.
like, if
It's pretty
that were to
consistent.
happen, the Bills have a tough game on Monday Night Football. The Jags
That game's supposed to be like a
don't have a
monsoon,
tough
by the way,
game.
I think.
You know,
I think it's supposed to be a bunch of rain on Monday. So then you really don't know who's going to win that game. Yep.
Mahomes, by the way, he's obviously getting a new contract at the end of the season, next offseason. Mike Florio said he was going to happen before Week 1. Obviously, that was inaccurate. But now seeing the Burrow number come in next offseason, I'm sure they're going to have to rework the Mahomes deal at that point in time.
Someone says, #where day rings, though.
That's right.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's exactly
It's a good
right.
one.
But they're 3-1, Cody. They're 3-1 though.
Pretty strong. Well, I mean, yeah, but we've talked about that.
No, that's
They're
I'm joking. That's
what
the
is it?
point,
1-1 in the regular in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've each got an AFC title game against each other. But again, one franchise has Super Bowl rings,
Correct.
and one does not.
By the way, last night, the pregame stuff, I thought they did a nice job with that. Mitch Holtz was down the field, and they brought out the 3 giant Lombardi trophies. The banner, I'll be honest, because of this, they could have just, the banner looks no different than the one before. I mean, obviously it has.
Looks nearly identical.
It is the same banner. They just obviously have the different Super Bowl logo. I mean, that's it. And you're like, well, what do you expect? I don't know, something a little different.
You want something
Same-
flashy,
same
tie-dye?
spot. So what happened to the other banner?
Trash.
What do they do with the other banner?
They hang it up in their Hall of Fame or something. I don't know.
It's a big ass banner to just hang up indoors anywhere. I mean, that thing is massive.
I don't know.
I thought
It's at
they
Clark's house. He puts it up like bunting for Chiefs opening day.
I guess
don't
we
know.
now know. I was wondering what they would do now if they had 2 recent ones. Would they keep multiple banners displaying? But now we know the answer. Whatever the most recent Super Bowl champion,
That gets the
that
banner.
one's going to get the banner. The other
Everyone
just
else gets flag
flags.
treatment.
I guess that's fine. I don't know. I would have liked. I don't know. I would have liked to have smaller banner, but 3 of them just to top the
Nah,
stadium.
you roll it up, you white glove it, you roll it up, and then you just put it away. Nobody cares about the one 2 times ago. We're talking about this Super Bowl and how the
Correct me
Chiefs
if
can
I'm
get
wrong.
another
I know
one this year.
like the Chiefs have the flags, but I think in New England, don't they have 3 banners always displayed at once? Or not 3, I'm sorry. 7 or whatever it is.
Somebody pointing out that Mike Florio is apparently doing his show from the Lowe's Hotel this morning. By the way, if you were looking for one reason to not care about Jawan Taylor's false starts, it's that Mike Florio is so butthurt about it. If there's one clear evidence that you shouldn't care about Jawan Taylor's not false starts, it's that Mike Florio is making a massive deal about it. Like there's an article in his paper be like, they missed 30 false start calls in the game last night. You're like, okay, Florio's a non-serious person, so just ignore that take.
The Pro Football Talk Twitter account was saying they were claiming the NFL was rigged because they're not calling penalties. It's like, aren't you supposed to be unbiased? Aren't you supposed to not say stuff like that?
This is the whole problem we have with like parts of the grading system with Pro Football Focus is they'll argue it's not subjective, but it's one guy doing the grading, and you're always giving Mahomes like a 76. I think you just got to find a different person to grade him or change your scaling system that at least it can include Patrick Mahomes' creativity as a portion of your grading because Every year, he's like the 7th-ranked Pro Football Focus quarterback, even in years in which he wins the MVP, and we're confused.
Cody, we're asking, Cody, if you were in charge of the NBC camera that missed the B2 flyover.
Right.
That was intentional by you
No.
because you didn't get it. You said you weren't going to watch, and they didn't,
Well, I didn't
they didn't
watch.
show it, I guess.
Yeah,
That's what I'm told they didn't show it. It was weird.
And Peyton Manning was talking about blimps. It's been a
That was hilarious. That was a great commercial.
very specific week for me.
I could, because of where, I don't know if they didn't go right over the state, but from where we were sitting, I actually never got to see the stealth bomber either. I heard it. I heard it, but I couldn't
so
see-
you didn't see it. You
No,
wanted to, though.
I wanted to, but the way, like, if you sit where we were sitting, you can't, like, even to see the banner, you kind of have to, like, look under, like, because the overhang kind of.
Sure.
And so I don't know if it didn't come right through the middle of the stadium like it normally does, or if it just was where we were sitting. I couldn't actually see it, but I heard it. And one other nitpicking thing here. Because of the banner unveiling, which was obviously very cool, they didn't do the hype you up introductions. The whole team ran out on the field together.
Oh,
I like the individual number 50, whatever, number 15.
Then you get to cheer louder for the guy you like better?
That pumps me up more. Obviously, I think they ran out of time because of the banner unveiling.
Well, yeah, man.
This is, again, very, like, first world problems thing here. But
yeah,
but
there weren't enough time for the player introductions. I like due to the
don't
fact
like
that they
when
were
they
celebrating their Super Bowl championship.
I don't like when they someone said it's stealth. You're not supposed to see it. We've all been at
Maybe
it.
you just
We've
didn't
all
see
been at Arrowhead with a B2. You still see the B2 bomber. It flies right over the stadium. I get the point though. But yeah, I wanted individual intros.
Someone says Cody's going on about bunting again.
Oh no!
Now at least you know what it is.
Bunting.
Drew, do you know what bunting is?
Are you a fan of bunting? When you go to a baseball game, are you a fan of bunting?
Yeah.
What about
I don't know what it is though because I know
bunting. What about bunting? Are you a fan of?
If you think baseball on opening day, what do you think bunting is?
Yeah, I'm totally. I'm not on the same page as you. I know it's something different. The way you guys are talking about
I
it.
am firmly in the minority, other than JJ, Piccolo, and a couple of other people who agreed with me.
Bunting.
You know,
I have no idea.
Red, white, and blue, like half circle stuff that they put all over the stuff for opening day.
Oh yeah,
that's called bunting. That's the name of that decorative item.
That was the best they could come up with.
Which apparently everyone didn't know, like I assumed on this show
No.
on opening day earlier this year.
Definitely not the case, man. Definitely not the case. All right, coming up next, though, we'll talk some more Chiefs football, obviously reacting to what happened last night, an upset win for the Lions, and particularly the wide receivers, the drops, and Andy Reid's short yardage situations. Pete Sweeney was at the game as well. We'll get his reaction next here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Tune in to hear Andy Reid every Monday at noon, exclusively on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Get ready for the upcoming NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday Ticket, fresh from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the perfect time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything for this upcoming NFL season. So visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code CDOT if you want to kick the NFL season off with an offer that you don't want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued with non-withdrawable bonus picks that expire in 7 days after restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement. Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends September 18th of 2023. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket. Not on YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and a current form of payment. Commercials excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Renner Garage Doors, servicing and installing garage doors in KC for over 60 years. Family owned and top rated. Residential, commercial, service and repairs. RENNER, forward and back. Renner, the company that does garage doors. RennerDoor.com.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service and always the best price at BookParkandGo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at BookParkandGo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated.
$10 says your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. $10 says you can make those returns at Staples 7 days a week. $10 says you'll get in and out fast and easy. $10 says when you make an Amazon return at Staples, you'll get $10 off your Staples purchase of $30 or more. $10 says it's pretty cool to get $10 to spend on something you want just for returning something you don't. $10 says Staples will be your new favorite place for Amazon returns. $10 says you knew I was going to say $10 says. Offer good in store only. Exclusions apply.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
NFL Sunday Ticket is now on YouTube and YouTube TV, which means that you can stay close to your team even if you don't live in their town. Like, maybe you're a Raven who married a Seahawk who got a job in the land of the Falcons. With NFL Sunday Ticket, you can watch your team's out-of-market Sunday afternoon games no matter where you live, because you shouldn't have to change teams even if you change towns. NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Go to youtube.com/NFLST to get $50 off.
Terms and embargoes apply. Offer ends 9/19. No refund. Subscription auto renews.
Consumer Cellular's award-winning customer support is 100% based in the U.S. And you are 100% based in the U.S. That's something you have in common with Consumer Cellular's customer service. Consumer Cellular's customer service likes pizza. And you like pizza. You want a free month of service, and we want to give you one. We obviously can't wait to hear from you. Visit consumercellular.com/free month and enter code free month to get your second month free. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Promotion is subject to terms and conditions.
Tailgates in turkey? Yes, please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey can be used for succulent sliders, killer kebabs, championship chili, or even brilliant burnt ends. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack worth nearly $2,000, including a portable Traeger grill, Yeti cooler, Chiefs gear, and much more at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot. Come on, KC, turn up your tailgate at tailgatewithturkey.com.
Luke Combs here, and I have an exclusive opportunity for you to win $500,000 with the Living Lucky with Luke Combs lottery experience. Join me in Nashville for a private concert at the iconic Ryman Auditorium. One lucky winner will win $500,000 at the end of the show. Y'all feeling lucky? Enter today.
Enter your Living Lucky with Luke Combs Scratchers tickets at MoLottery.com for a chance to win a private concert experience and a chance at $500,000. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and play responsibly.
BetMGM is offering football fans a chance at winning big. Enter our free-to-play BetMGM Football Survivor Pool Challenge, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Choose any football team to win each week in our Survivor Pool. Be the last player standing at the end of the season to win up to $100,000. Make sure to choose wisely. Once you've selected a team for the week, they can't be used again for the remainder of the season. Log into your account or sign up for BetMGM today to access the BetMGM Football Survivor Pool Challenge and make your picks. Level up your excitement this season with the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. BetMGM.com for T's and C's. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in Kansas to bet. New and existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, Chiefs fans, it's Mitch Holtis. Tune in every Friday morning at 7:30 as I join Bob and Josh to look ahead at the weekend in the Chiefs Kingdom on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCST Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Pete Sweeney, 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 Pete Sweeney.
All right, it's time to talk to our Chiefs insider from Arrowhead Pride, Pete Sweeney. And look, Pete, you came by our tent after every training camp practice we were there. How come you didn't tell us that they can't catch footballs? How come you missed that analysis? I wasn't aware of the drop problems.
Yeah, the guys who were dropping the football at training camp, and the ones that I noticed were Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, and I think they had one drop between the two of them last night. So did not show this at training camp. I got a question for you, and maybe for Cody.
Sure.
How much money in total do you think you cost the KC Metro by saying hammer the Chiefs spread last night?
I don't know. I would hope
I
that.
felt better and better about it. So I didn't bet it when it was like 6. The problem is when it got down to 3.5, I definitely felt that way.
Yeah.
No, I also like the sky more. I might have lost more that way.
That was a rough night, I think, for a lot. Like a year ago, everybody just hammered the Chiefs week 1, and everybody thought it was the easiest thing ever. I think last night was a reminder that it's not that easy. It's not that automatic.
Right. No, I think it caught everyone by surprise. I think the big misconception that I woke up with this morning, and I'm seeing there's of course dancing on Kadarius Toney, which I think you can make to an extent. He brought upon himself, and so you understand that a little bit. But just kind of like alluding to the fact that the Chiefs are done, like this whole thing is, and for what it's worth, yeah, I mean, you never want to make excuses, but you're missing your top 2 best players, and I think you can name like 10 things in the game where if they go the other way, maybe it's not a 1-point victory for the other side. So, yeah, panic mode's in full effect. There's 10 days before the next game, but that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. It's just, I think there's a little bit of that notion of you need to relax a little bit, just because I do think, of course, the things need to be cleaned up, but at the same time, it's a loss to an NFC opponent, and maybe in a way, I don't think the Chiefs were going undefeated. If you were to pick the first loss, why not have it be the first week, and so the team can have that reality check they've been talking about.
How important do you think the next week or two is for Kadarius Toney, just from a psyche standpoint? He deleted a Twitter account, and I think, yes, we all know the last game he played, he helped them win a Super Bowl, so he's got that always in his back pocket, but just confidence in his own, it's one thing from a home staff confidence, but confidence in himself. If all of a sudden he struggles and the drops continue next week, I worry that you kind of lose the guy even for the season. How important do you think the next week or two is?
Yeah, I think it's a part of the NFL that maybe we don't talk about enough. It's like the mental health and the pressure part of it. And, it's fun when the team is winning, and you see how fun it can be for these 20-somethings when there is success. But when you face a little bit of adversity and you've brought the spotlight onto yourself and you perform like you did on the national stage, right? So all those New Yorkers that you were talking about were watching your performance after what you said kind of in the offseason. So, of course, people are going to come onto Twitter and target you and whatnot. And now it's how you respond. And I think deleting his Twitter was probably a good idea. True. I would maybe just leave the phone at the house and go try to get something to take it off your mind. Just get back to work. And I think it's huge for somebody like that, too, who has fought through injury his entire career, had a really bad outing last night. The one remedy for that is putting your head down, getting back to work, and going out against the Jacksonville Jaguars, having 3 catches for 45 and a touchdown, and then suddenly you're feeling better. It's always, and last night's a great example. Like you mentioned, the Super Bowl, 100%. He'll always have that, but it's always a what have you done next? What have you done for me lately type of league. Andy Reid always reminds these guys of that. And if there's anyone that could, I think, get Toney on the right path, it's Reid and the Nagy and this coaching staff. So they're going to have to. And I agree with you. We forget sometimes that these are actual people playing this game, and it is something worth monitoring.
Is it weird that in a way I have it? it's much easier to explain away Kadarius Toney's problems, right? He's 6 weeks off. Okay, drops happen as a part of that. He only ran 12 routes. They still targeted him 45% of the time on the routes he ran, which means to me he was getting open. Like he was open on some of those ones he dropped. Sky Moore? I mean, he ran more routes than anyone, Pete, and they targeted him 3 times. Like, in a weird way, I feel worse about Sky than I do Toney after that game, and I know Toney had the worst game.
Yeah, and I think in all the conversations today, it's like one game, right? You always have to have that disclaimer. Sure. The sample size is small generally in the NFL just because it's only a 17-game season, and we're talking about one game. But it was not promising, at least to start, with this connection that was supposed to be taking the next step with Patrick Mahomes and Sky Moore. Now, you look at everything, and we just had the first look of the game last night. I think we'll learn more about it as we watch the tape in the coming days. You just wonder what Travis Kelce's presence on the field could have meant for Sky Moore as far as maybe not getting as much attention as he did. Again, we need to see exactly what the Lions were doing, but I just tend to think maybe that changes the game. And I think without Kelce, just a lot of pressure was put on a lot of young receivers. If you notice, the guys, besides Rice, who I thought had a nice night for himself and to ride his path, but the guys who really stepped up were the veterans because, they understand that they're going to have to take that next man up approach. And I thought Justin Watson had a really nice night. I thought Marquez Valdez-Scantling had a nice night. There was pressure put on young players that, they weren't able to do that. Maybe now as they get that experience, the next time around when there's an injury to a key player, they're going to be better for it. And, yeah, it takes a loss that stings on opening night against a really hungry, good Lions team that I consider a playoff team. But now you refocus, right? It's a long season. Losses are always going to hurt. If they get a win against the Jaguars next week, the ship is righted, and I think everyone feels good about it.
We're talking to Pete Sweeney from Arrowhead Pride, our Chiefs insider, the editor-in-chief over at Arrowhead Pride. And the short yardage struggles, man, this is not a one-year thing, a two-year thing. This has been going on for a while, and it came up again last night, whether it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1. For a guy that is so smart and creative as a play caller, one of the best we've ever seen in the game, and Andy Reid, how is this still an issue, Pete? Like, most teams can figure it out one way or the other. You go and just simply run the football, halfback dive, simple, or you go QB sneak, and they won't do either.
Yeah, I did some research last night because this came up again in that handoff to Rice from Bell and the trick play and everything. And this isn't just a message for Andy Reid and the Chiefs and the coaching staff and the game planning in Kansas City. How is just not everybody in the entire league not just copying the Philadelphia Eagles until they changed the rule? They showed you that giving the ball to an athlete, it doesn't even necessarily have to be Patrick Mahomes, but giving it to anybody on the team, getting behind him, snapping it, direct snapping it, pushing his butt past the line, works 94% of the time. 94. What is everyone else doing? And this includes the Chiefs. Until the NFL changes the rule, they talked about it this offseason because it's not fun to watch. Until everyone changes the rule, just copy it. Are we too proud to copy the Philadelphia
it's play
Eagles
calling arrogance.
Yeah, and I just wonder about that. And I don't think it even has to be Mahomes. Snap it to Blake Bell. I haven't looked at their butts, but I'd imagine Blake Bell maybe has a bigger butt than Mahomes anyway, and push him past the first down marker. I am as baffled as you are, and it's not just the Chiefs. It's really the other 31 teams in the league. Everybody should be doing what the Eagles are doing.
Andy had a bad game, though, right? I mean, he passed on 2 4th and 2s, Pete, just to settle for a 4th and 20 in the fourth quarter. Like, I mean, that can't be ignored. Andy had an off game. It happens.
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of the fact that he's not straight analytics. I like that he uses feel sometimes because I think sometimes you have it in your offense where, man, it's just not working tonight. But it wasn't the fault of Mahomes. And so the key one for me that made me scratch my head was when they were up 3 and they were facing 4th and 2 and decided to take the offense off the field. Because that's a moment where you're like, you know what, we have the best player in the league. Let's let him at least have a chance to win this game, and we're going to keep it in our control rather than kicking the field goal and allowing, what is a pretty good Lions offense another chance. Now, I know the defense was playing pretty well, and so I think Andy Reid was figuring, let me go up 6 and make them score a touchdown. But I think, in a way, you were just without your best players, as far as Chris Jones and Travis Kelce goes, you're trying to gut out that win. And I think you're playing a little bit of fire by taking the ball out of the best player on the field's hands. And so that one sticks out to me. I don't hate as much when you got down to the situation in the vacuum of going for it on 4th and 20. The Chiefs have converted long plays to extend games, and I just figured, well, they figure they're even if they were to punt it, they're going to have to stop them anyway. And so they said, let's just try. But keeping the ball in the hands of the best player on the field on 4th and 20 is very different than 4th and 2. And I bet Reed maybe wishes he had that one in particular back.
What'd you make of Chris Jones just hanging out in the suite, losing out on $1 million? That's an expensive ticket last night. He's next to his 2 agents. I think that was like the next major shift. We've had a couple. The tweets have shifted public perception kind of against him at times. I think last night, seeing him in the suite while his football team's playing, I think that pissed a lot of people off.
The words that I've been using to describe it, strange, bizarre, like befuddling. I don't know what was going through Jones's mind by doing that. And it's something unlike we have ever seen. You're sitting up there, you're watching your team struggle mightily, right? And the Chiefs could have won last night, but it was going to be pulling teeth even if they were to pull it out. And, I tend to think Travis Kelce, if he had not been injured, would have been worth 2 points. I tend to think Chris Jones would have been worth 2 points on the field. And so not only are you watching your team, but you're watching your team lose because you're not on the field. And so I don't get it. I understand that he wants his money. I don't blame him for that. I've said that. The only thing that I would blame him for is being so team happy. And then at the end of the day, when they do offer you the raise that you're talking about, you just not taking it. That's the only problem I have with it, because then just say you want to be the highest paid player at your position. But even still, let's just say you're asking for that $30 million number. Don't come to the stadium until you're in an agreement with the team. The comment this week was, I don't want to be a distraction. How many times did they show him on the broadcast last night sitting between the 2 goons? Because that's what it looked like. He looked ridiculous, and it doesn't help the situation at all. And it makes you somebody that they're going to show on camera several times, and you didn't look all that great. And so I don't get it. Was bizarre. It was strange. I know a colleague of mine made a joke, Nick Jacobs from 41, I saw on Twitter, that was like, blink twice if you're being held hostage. It kind of feels that way, right? Is he just brainwashed by these 2 guys that look like Italian mobsters? And it's the point of ridiculousness, and I don't get it, guys.
The absence of Chris Jones, it didn't overall. You mentioned the defense briefly, just real quick. What stood out to you about their performance? Let's say other than Trent McDuffie, because I thought he looked better than anybody on the field last night for the Chiefs defensively.
Yeah, as ridiculous and bizarre as the Jones situation is getting, as I'm describing, I think at some point this year Jones is going to be back. And when you have a loss like this and you get to the next morning, you're always looking for positives. And I think the front seven is going to be pretty darn good when Chris Jones gets back. They showed some real progress last night. I think Jones's presence will help George Karlaftis get even more pressure on the opposing quarterbacks, because I think he won't see as much attention. But Mike Dana looked really good. Dana has been hiding in plain sight for a couple years now, and I think now he's going to finally get the opportunity as a mainstay in that rotation. And I think Felix looked to me, because again, rotates these guys. He looks like a day one contributor, which Karlaftis really wasn't, last year, and they still needed Frank Clark. And so, you start to get Chris Jones back here in that mix. I think you're feeling pretty good about the pressure you can put on the other quarterback. And so it's like anything. It's like, you buy time until the reinforcements come. You hope the Weir Jones situation gets solved. You hope Travis Kelce can play. And I think the Chiefs are still a pretty good football team. I'm not making excuses, because I think they could have won. But again, they made multiple mistakes last night. And if one goes a different way, I just think the outcome is different. I don't think you're feeling great this morning. No. But you would certainly feel okay about a win.
Well, yeah, and it's like the Lions, one of their biggest wins in franchise history, and they deserve credit for going on the road in that atmosphere and getting a win and living up to the offseason hype, at least through week 1. But I didn't come away feeling like, oh my gosh, Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, this Lions team, they are a juggernaut. Look out, Philadelphia. Like that, to your point, I felt like the Chiefs obviously made plenty of mistakes last night.
Yeah, and I have the Lions as a playoff team, and I think they're finally going to break through in that regard this year. But I'm not ready to say that they're going to be the bye team. I think after last night's performance, I'm going to need to see more. Again, Chiefs didn't have their best players, and they got out of the stadium with a 1-point win. It's still a big win. I mean, just think about how big the win was for the Chiefs with Al Smith when they were able to go in New England and win. Yeah. That really felt like a breakthrough moment in the course of franchise history. But I didn't walk away feeling like this was a big. Let's just put it this way: I didn't walk away feeling like this was a supreme victory lap for the preseason Lions hype train.
Yeah.
I think they won a game they should have after all the mistakes the Chiefs made.
Pete Sweeney, Chiefs Insider from Arrowhead Pride. Again, Pete, you guys have a new offering people can sign up for.
Yeah, thanks again for giving me the opportunity. Arrowheadpride.com. If you just click on the link at the top where you got a new newsletter. We had one out this morning. It's a premium newsletter. If you want a little extra for the diehards, we got a free trial for a week up there. There's also a monthly option and a year-long option for a little cheaper. So consider it. If not, we'll be keeping arrowheadpride.com up to date with all the things that you can expect.
There you go. Pete Sweeney, he'll check in with us again next week as at that point in time we get set for the Chiefs and the Jags in a pretty big Week 2 game. And
all of a sudden, yeah.
And at that point, hopefully, by next Friday when Pete joins us again, hopefully we'll feel good about Kelsey's status and maybe Chris Jones has shown up by then. Yeah, the image of him just sitting in that suite, it's just not a good look.
Weird.
And I know we've talked so much about hey, these agents and how experienced are they? Would it be different if they had? I'll still just remind people they negotiated the prior 4-year, $80 million extension for Chris Jones with Brett Veach. The Katz brothers worked for Drew Rosenhaus, so the whole hey, if he had Drew Rosenhaus, this wouldn't be a problem. They literally that was where they came from. They left the firm. And Chris Jones was willing to leave with them. So it's I don't think it's inexperience. I just think overall, at some point, you just got to start looking at the math of what you're missing out on. You missed $1 million last night. You're not making up the $10 million pretty soon here if you start missing more than 1 week.
You're up to $3 million. Unless the Chiefs are going to close that gap for you, that's money you'll never see again. To what? Make a point? To the team that you've won 2 Super Bowls with? They have treated Chris relatively fairly over the course of this time. I understand he feels like he deserves a little bit more, and that Bosa contract probably doesn't help. But at some point, it just doesn't make financial sense, which means it doesn't make team sense, which means you just got to show up to work. Whether you got the contract or not, at some point, you just have to show up to work and play under the existing deal.
And publicly, they're all trying to play nice still as well, because if they really, some organizations, if they wanted to turn the heat up here, they would have been like, yeah, we don't want you at the stadium. That was not what happened. That was not what happened.
Still glad-handing and being like, oh, we love Chris. And we hope something could still happen. And he's still saying those things, too. They're trying not to burn the bridge between each other.
Both sides, yeah.
But because that means they probably both still want each other in the end. But
well, again, Chris wants to be here, no doubt. Because if he didn't, and he wanted to get paid 3 weeks ago, he could have said, I want out and I can get paid somewhere else. He's never, to this point, said, I want out. That's not happening. He wants to be in Kansas City, but it's just last night was a rough image and not helping the fan sentiment towards him whatsoever. All right, we know this weekend as well, huge college football weekend, Drew. All eyes on Colorado and Nebraska. We got all 3 local schools ready to go, too.
Yeah, it seems like Colorado-Nebraska might be one of the games of the week, even though Texas plays Alabama. Real quick, before we get to some of the other games, though, big news this week, Tez Walker, North Carolina, UNC linebacker, announced that he's ineligible by the NCAA. To give some people a little bit more background on the situation, he transferred from Kent State, also previously was at NC Central, so this would be a second transfer for him. He announced he was committing and moving to UNC. A few days later, the NCAA comes out with a rule against trying to not favor a 2 transfer. There's a period where they were going to evaluate him. Kent State actually apparently wrote a request saying, hey, he should play, even though they lost him. They reached out. NCAA says no. Mac Brown went off on the NCAA saying, I don't know if I've ever been more disappointed in a person, group of people, or an institution than I am with the NCAA. It's clear that the NCAA is about process and it couldn't care less about young people. Also said, shame on you, NCAA, shame on you at the end of the statement.
This is eventually why the four conferences now are going to leave the NCAA. They're all going to leave and do their own tournament. They're just going to ditch the NCAA at some point because they refuse to, play ball. They refuse to just be a part of the game. They want to be Billy Badass, and they can't help themselves sometimes.
The NCAA,
this kid announced it.
The NCAA sucks, man. This player was supposed to read their mind. They said, well, yeah, we announced the rule change 3 days after, but 4 months earlier we actually thought and decided. Are you kidding me? Could you imagine if that's how just laws worked as well? They're like, hey, we didn't actually change this work rule. We just now told you about it, but because it's something we were thinking about 6 months ago and you violated it, we're going to go ahead and punish you now for it. Are you kidding me?
They make laws specifically so it doesn't work that way. Hell, in Missouri, they're literally giving you 2 years to use your phone while you're driving and just pull you over to warn your ass. They're like, hey, look, man, in 2 years, we're going to be really mad at you for doing this.
Yeah,
the NCAA won't even let one kid play at North Carolina.
In other news, local KU plays tonight against Illinois. Gold, you feeling good about your Jayhawks?
I don't think Jalen Daniels going to play. I don't know what the hell's going on with that situation.
I'm a little nervous. He's expected to play, but how effective is Bean going to play some? Is the back going to come up? Anytime, I don't care if you're in college or you're an NFL player, back injuries is never a good thing. It's just, this nags all year. I'm a little nervous about tonight's game. I know Toledo gave Illinois a run for their money, but that's I think, a tougher game than people realize. I would love to sit here and tell you that I'm confident that KU can win. I'm a little nervous. But if they do find a way to win with Jalen Daniels, I think they could get to 4-0 to start, because after that they go play Nevada, which is not a very good team, and then they play to open up Big 12, play BYU, who's not the same type of BYU program they were a couple years ago. So tonight's a big swing. If you think they can get to 7+ wins, you got to have this one tonight.
Missouri plays Middle Tennessee State. Should win that game as well. I'll have to see what Eli Drinkwitz has to say after that one. Upset alert teams this weekend. As much as I love the K-State, Troy's a team to watch out. I think it's 15.5. K-State wins the game, I think, but Troy covers, and it's going to be a tight game all the way out. I'll be there as well. I'm going tomorrow.
Wait, so you, newly minted K-State fan, will be at the K-State game tomorrow already?
I will be at.
God, it didn't even take him that long to
I'll be at K-State.
You got to get up early, head out there, man. Get out there in time. Check out the little tailgating.
The Bill Snyder family area, right?
The whole stadium is Bill Snyder family stadium.
He's got a whole.
But yeah, it's a great stadium. It is. No, they've done a very nice job out there. Enjoy. You're going with your wife, right?
Yep. Bree said yes. I will go. So that
also
is
fun. K State shirt for her. I only got one for you. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what we're going there for. I got to get something from being there because I've been. Yeah, I will take care of that.
Okay, you'll figure it out.
Other teams on upset alert. Colorado, maybe? I mean, what is it still?
Nebraska this weekend.
It's a 2-point spread, correct, Gold?
It's 2.5. Dusty and I were giving each other a hard time. Dusty obviously is very pro Colorado. He's very proud that he had the over on the wins, which obviously looks way better today. I'll give him credit for that. My whole thing has always been, I think there's a massive overreaction on the other side, though, just as that Colorado's already looked better than I ever thought they would. Deion Sanders has everybody talking about the program. I just didn't know that last week counted for 4 wins. That's all. And we're acting like they're going to go win the Pac-12 now and go beat USC and Heisman Trophy winners and all that. I'm just saying, let's pump the brakes. Nebraska, everybody assumes is going to get their ass kicked. That's also just why I'm going the opposite direction, because college football is weird. I got 14 points out of Dusty today. I get Nebraska plus 14.
It's like an extra 12 points
so
than the normal line.
12, yeah.
I've got Nebraska plus 14.
Nebraska is the exact type of college football team I will watch typically under 0 circumstances. I refuse to watch college football offenses that look like that. I'm not interested in any of your brand of football. It is uninteresting. It is terrible to watch.
Another team on upset
Colorado's
alert.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to end up watching this game. I'm going to be mad I'm watching Nebraska's offense.
Number 23, Texas A&M is at Miami, although the crowd sucks in Coral Gables for those games. The Canes have a talented team, could take down Texas A&M. Games of the weekend, though, outside of that Colorado-Nebraska one, Texas is at Alabama, number 11 at number 3. And then Ole Miss, sneaky upset alert as well. Number 20, Ole Miss at number 24, Tulane. They're actually playing on campus in Tulane. So an opportunity for a group of 5 team to knock off an SEC team and showcase how good they are. Tulane was the team that beat USC in the Cotton Bowl last year as well, overtook Caleb Williams. Is this also the last weekend before we truly dive into conference play as well? We got a lot of conference games next week, so we're diving into conference play next week, and things really start getting going.
Another good college football weekend. Let's not forget MU playing also against Middle Tennessee State on on Saturday.
You just
night.
breeze past it. He's like, they got to win that one, I think.
Well, yeah.
I'm more intrigued to see what Drinkwitz has to say after.
Well, he's good at talking. That's for sure.
He was really trying to bury the media after that first one. I was surprised. Carrington put out that look-ahead line for Missouri versus K-State, and somehow...
So 1 point. That's it.
What?
It's on DraftKings right now, yeah.
I'm gonna go bet. Like, we talk about like this all the time. I'm like, what's wrong? What do I don't know that Vegas does?
That's how people feel
because
about this.
that line is so fishy. I'm like, weird. I am confused.
That's how people feel about the Colorado.
I'm very confused about that line.
That's how people feel about the Colorado-Nebraska
Nebraska was
game.
an 8-point favorite like 3 weeks ago. That one, at least, I know what's fishy about it.
Yeah.
Colorado won a game, and everybody wanted to bet on them. They're getting as much action as NFL games right now.
Yeah, 90% of the money is on Colorado minus the 2.5 or minus the 2, depending on the number you got, which is like because it doesn't make any sense, right? Colorado should blow out Nebraska based on if you're just basing it off of results a week ago. Problem is, it's not that simple usually.
College football is a week-by-week thing. It gets nutty. We'll have to test your if you know the 5 rules next week, Cody.
Nope, still haven't figured those out. Oh, that video.
Yeah, you ready? You ready?
One of them is don't share. Be quiet.
I'm super excited.
The
zoo rules.
I'm super excited to go tomorrow.
I'm
pumped up to see
a great game day
a real college football environment because my alma mater, Butler, is there are as many people at my high school games than there were as there were there.
Program, Butler?
Yeah, they play at FCS.
I was like, do they have?
There was a play that got lit up. By the way, you might have actually seen it on Twitter. It was a guy that got lit up against Montana last weekend. It was going around the.
And you lived in Florida for a while, and you said Miami's atmosphere stinks.
Well, just by looking, their crowd is terrible because they play in the Dolphin Stadium, and the stadium's 40 minutes away from campus. They can't get a crowd. It's horrible.
I just go to the beach on Saturday afternoon. Bring a TV and watch college football there at the beach. I think is what I would do. But no, you should go to Aggieville after the game tomorrow. You guys, if you're, I know it's a long day for you guys, but you should go to Aggieville after. Have a good time.
I will tell Bree, and we'll do it.
You guys should do that. All right, coming up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. We get right back into the Chiefs, and now Andy Reid still playing a little conservative at times. Plus, did anything actually change when it comes to that Chris Jones situation? Here on Cody.
There's Kelsey to the end zone.
Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
All the sports?
All the sports. Visit Bogey's Windy City Pub and catch all the college and pro football action. Plus, delicious made-from-scratch menu and themed daily chef specials. Bogey's Windy City Pub, your neighborhood restaurant and sports bar. South Leawood. BogiesWindyCityPub.com.
When you get your home internet from Big Cable, you'll go through the 5 stages of grief over your bill. There's denial.
Okay, so my introductory rate is over, but surely they won't raise the price.
Anger.
They've raised it.
Even bargaining.
Maybe if I complain, they'll give me a discount.
And sure, you could stick around for depression and acceptance to kick in. Or you can switch to T-Mobile. With T-Mobile 5G home internet, you can say goodbye to the grief of exploding bills. Because with our price lock guarantee, we won't raise your rate for internet ever. And it's just $50 a month with auto pay and eligible payment method. Plus, setup only takes 15 minutes. Get T-Mobile 5G home internet for just $50 a month. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/5G internet.
Price lock exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Qualifying credit required. Regulatory fees included in $50 price for qualified accounts, plus $5 per month without autopay. Debit or bank account required.
right before Cody and I were doing a show, his glasses completely snapped in half. And then I was going through all the scenarios of, well, how are you supposed to drive home from work? How are you supposed to get through your day? Maybe you're going to have a headache because you can't see. All that stuff that was a pain in the you-know-what, I don't have to deal with anymore because I don't wear contacts. I don't wear glasses. I definitely don't have to worry about making sure I have a ride home if something like that were to happen, because I just see with my own two eyes thanks to my friends over at DuraVision. I underwent SBK Advanced LASIK a little over 2 years ago. I cannot believe it's already been that long, but now it just feels normal. I wake up, I see each and every day. It was the best decision I ever made, calling DuraVision for that free consultation. It's what you need to do as well. 913-491-3330, or go online to DuraVision.com. And right now, you want to make sure you don't let another summer pass you by with glasses or contacts holding you back, keeping you from having fun, saving you time in the morning, as a matter of fact. So take advantage of DuraVision's exclusive end-of-summer LASIK savings and save up to $1,000 on your procedure.
Football season is here, and whether you plan on going to the big game or having a tailgate at your house, you need Smokehouse Barbecue. Let Smokehouse cater your entire event. Order the whole meal with their famous ribs and wings, and don't forget about Smokehouse's hickory pit beans or cheesy corn to go along with your meal as well. They have private banquet rooms at all 3 locations in Zona Rosa, Gladstone, and Independence. Check them out at SmokehouseBBQ.com. That's SmokehouseBBQ.com. For over 35 years, locally owned and family operated, it's Smokehouse Barbecue.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with a synthetic oil change. O'Reilly Auto Parts has 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95. Plus, get a $5 O reward to use on a future purchase. Our professional parts people can also recommend all the supplies you need for your next oil change. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Want a new car at a used car price? I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. Right now, we have a surplus of new cars, so everything is seriously discounted.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV. Hurry in before we run out of 2023s.
Don't miss our surplus sale at the #1 Volkswagen dealer in the Midwest. Visit VWLeaseSummit.com.
Based on 2022 VW retail reports, financing through VCI OAC. Call 816-841-7383 for details.
Home is where the heart is. At Anthony, 70-plus years of trust. Safe, reliable, local. Your home, our commitment. Schedule online today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about our 29-degree man-sized drafts. Our happy hour will have you coming back for more. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit GetJim.com.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
And some Frank's Red Hot.
Nah.
You're just gonna eat these boring nachos with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up!
This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Mostly sunny and nice, a little hazy, high of 86.
Weather brought to you by Indeed. Need to hire? Find great people fast with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com.
I can't thank Max Motors enough. They got me in a vehicle within my budget.
You're welcome, Alicia. We got her the best interest rates, and we can do that for you too. Make the smart choice. Buy with Max Motors. MaxMotors.com. See dealer for details.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
All right, it's the Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. At the end of this Red Half Hour, be listening, your chance to win a pizza from our friends over at the other place, Large Specialty Pizza. Some point in time, we're going to make Drew answer the phones, hook you up with some pizza. 913-586-7610.
We're going to remember today. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
This show,
not forgetting,
does not have the best success rate of remembering the pizza giveaways, which is why the drive always has so many. So look at it from this perspective.
There you go.
If you listen all day long, you're getting a pizza somewhere along.
So we're going to do that, I promise, sometime this half hour. We asked Pete about the short yardage situations with Andy Reid and why this is such a struggle, because it really is mind-boggling for a guy that's such a genius of a play caller and a play designer, but they can't figure it out. It wasn't just the short yardage last night, though, but there was some questionable, just conservative approaches to even how they went about deciding to punt or go for it in certain spots.
I don't think Pete is wrong in the idea that it doesn't have to be 100% of the time, all the time. But Andy had a bad game. All right, that's just what it is. The bigger part of the problem was Kadarius Toney and his drops in the wide receiver effort, but Andy did not help the cause because he had 2 4th-and-2 options. He settled for a field goal. I thought the second one, as Pete pointed out, is far more egregious because there is no math that supports at that stage of the game being up 6 offers you any benefit versus being up 3. It is 2 yards. You got Patrick. I think the thing that frustrates me is you have Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if you make him do an 11-step drop and make him throw the ball 20 yards, even though it's 2. That is to me a better play than going for the field goal. I didn't like those 2 decisions. I thought they could have punted on the 4th and 20. I wasn't over the moon.
The 4th and 21, that one really doesn't bug me because one, they actually should have converted it. It's a catchable pass, and at that point, dude, you're kind of SOL. I mean, you're going to punt it, and you're going to have to stop them. And yes, they were in field goal range by not getting it, but you still were going to have to stop them. And they had a play that the play design wasn't the problem. Mahomes' throw wasn't the problem. I think he was throwing to Sky Moore, not Justin Watson. They both kind of overlapped each other. That was a pass that should have been caught.
But there's multiple times, and we talked about this last year. So this is a bit of one of those recurring things too that we only see in Chiefs losses. So that's when we bring them up. Again, neither of us are completely down on the Chiefs. I still will stick to 13 wins. I still think they'll win the division.
I'll stick with 12 wins. Yes.
All those things are going to happen. We get to Club 610 later, get a drink in our hand, we loosen up.
Today we need a drink. I think we need a drink today.
Hell yeah. And our friend from Andrew, from Jay Rieger, he's coming in to make us cocktails. I think he has to make the drinks today.
Even better.
We have a professional-ass bartender coming in here to make us drinks, which is fantastic for us. But I just felt like he missed... So there was 4 opportunities that the analytics people would say those are go or no-go situations. And by the math, he went against all 4. And the bigger problem is 2 of them, I guess you could call successful because he kicked a field goal. They lost by a point, so those are losses in my opinion. He didn't convert the 4th and 20, even if they could have, which means all the decisions also backfired in a way because neither of them ended up working. So, the frustration is when the teams get hyper-aggressive with the Chiefs, which isn't every game. But, Dan Campbell in the first quarter is going for 4th and 2s from his own 24-yard line. He's showing you what level of aggression he's willing to have in this game. I think sometimes Andy's got to match that a little bit or show a little willingness to match it a little bit. They're on the plus side of the field. They have these opportunities. There's no doubt Butker's good. Maybe take that opportunity. I think Andy got stuck in the thing we've talked about before where when Andy sniffs a game that he thinks he can just grind to a stupid halt and win, he plays it that way. And I don't feel like with Mahomes you should ever be settling for that.
Look, I think the field goal to go up 6 late, that was one of the worst ones just because.
That was the worst one.
I know your defense was playing very well, but in the fourth quarter, going up 6 points, it's not doing anything for you at that given time.
Not against one of the better offenses in the NFL.
And look, I'm sure the answer probably is that defensively you felt good because the defense played pretty well. They wore down against the run late in that game, but overall, no Chris Jones. The defense was not the problem. Doesn't mean that plays weren't made or not made on one side of the field in terms of the Lions on the 3rd and 12. They made a play. You weren't able to make the play, and that was a huge lapse defensively. They weren't perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect defensively. But without Chris Jones, you give up 14 points from your defense because the pick 6 obviously got it to 21, or what was why you don't count it. So I think you're right. We look at it more in losses. If they would have won last night, 23-21. I don't know if we're talking as much about it. We still would be talking about the short yardage stuff. I can promise you that.
What if that's in his head? That's part of the problem, right? He has these 2 4th and 2s. I wonder if Andy's like, I can't get those. Like, and I know that that's not what they're thinking, but there's that part of your brain, right, where you're not saying that out loud. You're not trying to think you think that, but that is your kryptonite. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 3rd and 2. So you get these 2 4th and 2s. You're like, well, screw it. Butker's going to make this thing 95% of the time. There's no play I call right now that's 95% successful from 2 yards. And so he just settles for the kick because of the short yardage issues. In a weird way, it's like they compound on each other. That makes it extra frustrating in a way where you're just like, if you could solve the short yardage problem, then maybe you would also trust yourself in those moments to go for those 4th and 2.
Keep harping on, like, how have they not solved that? This is not a 1 year problem. They've had different offensive linemen that have come in during the stretch, so it's not like, man, just these mix of linemen just don't work for. They've had different tackles now, 2 new tackles during this. Still not confident. Still not able to do it. They've had different wide receivers, even when they've tried to get cute, try to accomplish it. Doesn't usually work. They've had different running backs during this stretch. Hasn't worked. Same quarterback, same play caller. I agree with Pete. Sorry, Drew. Real quick. I agree with Pete. The tush push. Tush push at bare minimum. Do it, please.
I don't care if it's with Blake Bell, Blaine Gabbert.
You know what? I'll go ahead and say you don't have to do it, Mahomes. You're worried about the knee. I get it, Andy. Okay.
I would just do it with Mahomes, to be clear. I'd like that to be known.
Put in Blaine Gabbert. Blake Bell, you're confident touching the ball so much, have him just go under center and push his ass forward. Literally.
Mm-hmm. I think to your point, Gold, a little bit earlier when Pete was on there, it's just it's the overthinking it as a play caller. Like you think everybody will know what's coming and you can't do it. But as he said, 94% of the time the Eagles convert. It's like even if you bring in Blaine Gabbert and they know they're going to quarterback sneak it, it works 94% of the time.
Yeah, and I know Jalen Hurts is one of the strongest quarterbacks probably in the league, right? He's built different, but still, I don't think it's just because Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts why that play works for the Eagles.
Well, they ran a quarterback sneak with Goff, didn't they, as well?
It's weird.
Most teams do.
I have never, for a copycat league, I genuinely cannot understand how someone could watch a play, be successful that often, and there's still half the league that isn't doing like, what the hell's wrong with all of you? You will copy the entire league one year. Decided to run the Wildcat formation because they watched one Miami Dolphins team have success. The entire league implemented Wildcat because one team showed some success with it. And you're telling me that there's a play that a team has proven is 90% successful and everyone else in the league is like, I don't know. I don't know. You should all be doing it. It's way too successful. You should all just get on board. Like, it doesn't matter the career. You can make this about any career, Gold. If you found out that there was a show that had a 99% ratings boost just from doing this one thing, and I don't care if it was like you had to do the show, but I hung upside down from one of those I do it. 99%. I just have to
Cody's
take the percentage.
Cody's going to be a bat during the show, it sounds like.
I don't do a whole show. By the way, I'd pass out. I couldn't make it 4 hours in that thing. Yeah, how long can you make it hanging upside down before you pass out?
It wouldn't take. You wouldn't make it through the first full hour of the show.
Well, in breaks, maybe I could probably. Yeah,
that's true.
Back
that's
up,
true.
You know,
and this isn't like an anti-Blake Bell thing. It's honestly, this is not his fault. I just hate the Blake Bell package. Okay, it just doesn't work. I
don't love it.
It just doesn't work. Throw it in the trash, please. Go a different path. I understand Andy in his career, what has made him so successful is he is misdirection. He catches you off guard. He's innovative. But sometimes it's 3rd and 1, guys. It's a yard. It's one damn yard. And do you not trust your offensive line to move the line of scrimmage with the talent that we all believe you have, and I think we all agree they have, on the O-line, you can't get any movement to get a damn yard?
Do either of you guys, like in a critical moment, this is what it always comes down to. Like in a critical moment, you're trying to make a life decision, you're trying to buy a house, a car, anything else. And you take that moment where you're like, does something sound wrong about this? If you're Andy Reid and you're like, hey, it is 3rd and short in an important moment of the game, does a Blake Bell-led snap to your rookie wide receiver, Rashee Rice, does that sound like the right idea in that moment? Or should you just take a step back for just a second and realize the other players you have available to yourself? Like, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes or Isaiah Pacheco, who was your leading rusher last year. There's so many other choices in that moment besides Blake Bell hands the ball to Rashee Rice. Does that pass the smell test in your brain?
Do we not think that Pacheco is healthy? Because we'll get to the Clyde part in a second, but even within this conversation, what do we always say about Pacheco, man? He runs full speed ahead, 100 miles an hour. He just runs dudes over, wants contact. Isn't that exactly what you want on a third? You want the guy that's not going to run full force, even if a defender's able to get through the line of scrimmage. Like you think, maybe he's got a chance to break a tackle more than any of the other backs. And that hasn't happened. Now, as far as last night, Clyde Edwards-Helaire got the first 2 touches of any running back.
Oh, yeah. Did that make you mad?
Hell? I was stunned.
Weird.
I was stunned. It did kind of irritate me a little bit. And he was, I guess, more effective than Pacheco last night statistically. I was stunned to see that he was the starting running back last night, not Pacheco. The first 2 snaps went to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and not just blocking, like literally the carries. Is Pacheco, are they still babying him? He got a little banged up in the game, too.
Okay, so I think the answer is probably yes, because they really limited Kadarius Toney snaps. They limited to a point Snead snaps. They limited Pacheco. So part of me thinks all these guys who are hurt need just a little bit more time or didn't get the normal amount of workload they would in the training camp. So they're just going to protect him a little bit, Gold. So for now, I am going to give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt and assume that that's what's going on here.
Okay.
But if they are reverting and Clyde is the starter for this team again, that makes no sense.
No.
That would be weird. It'd be like Pacheco won the job last year and was the better of the 2 backs. I would be confused. I'll say this. Clyde was running hard.
He was.
Clyde was running with some.
He's got a chip on his shoulder.
He was running with some, he meant it last night, which is good.
Good for him. No,
Yeah,
I mean, again, much like the Blake Bell thing, it's not a shot at Clyde either. It's just that I don't get it. We saw what Pacheco was capable of doing last year. So, yeah, I'm hoping that they're just being cautious. He wore the yellow jersey all camp, and then they finally took the yellow non-contact jersey off, and so maybe they're being cautious. But it's like, and I don't know what the normal recovery time is. He had surgery right after the Super Bowl, didn't he, for the torn labrum? And it's like, it's September 8th. It's like, man, this is still a problem? It's still concerning?
You know what else I don't get? The whole Chris Jones thing. The plan here now going forward. I'm going to need someone to tell me, Gold, you had asked this question. I think we all need to know the answer now. What is the benefit now? What was the point of that last night? I'm not, I get it. The Chiefs kind of gave him the pass on it so he could be there and see the banner raised. And in a way, I think in their brain, it's like it's Chris proving how much he actually does love the Chiefs. He wants to see that banner go. That means something.
He was part of that championship team.
I think that's what it's trying to do. But when they cut to him and he's just standing there between 2 Home Alone 3 bad guys and everything feels awkward, you realize how flat it fell, and you're like, you should probably just lay low for a bit, or more importantly, show up to work.
Well,
it is officially show up to work time. I give all the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
We get through the game. Okay, I gave you game 1. We're good. Show up to work now. It's time.
Well, just
we're done.
48 hours ago or whatever it was, he said that he didn't want to do the hold-in thing during camp because that would be a distraction.
Yeah.
Going to the game, now he wasn't on the sideline. That would have full-on been a distraction. But even being in the booth, it makes you wonder how much, from a teammate perspective, is it becoming a distraction. And you and I both talked to somebody, and I don't think it surprised anybody, but basically that NBC told Chris when they were going to possibly show him during the game. Make sure you're in the seat, basically. It was a PR move. But I don't fault the Chiefs for letting him be there, because if you want to really turn up the temperature and hostility, you say, we're not going to let you in. That also could have been. I understand and respect why they allowed him to be there. But if you're Chris Jones, Did you think that was you thought fans were gonna be like, oh yeah, man, he's there supporting? No, I think it was the opposite. Fans were like, wait, you can get your ass to the stadium, you can sit in the suite.
Yeah.
And look, he's the one losing the $1 million. Not
again,
you
jobs
and I.
are different because in any other job, it'd be even weirder.
But like, I think it wasn't a good look. And I'm with you. You got 10 days now till the next game. This weekend, one way or the other, both sides do need to get this thing rectified. Financially, the more games you miss, we talked about over and over. Doesn't make any sense. The gap that you have between the Chiefs and his team negotiating, you're closing the gap by losing the money from missing games. You're widening the gap. You're not going to make up that money whatsoever.
I was just looking at like Twitter a little bit as it comes through, and Matt Verderam, who comes on the show quite a bit, is right. The headline from one of this morning's shows, it says, "Is this the beginning of the end of the Chiefs dynasty?" He's like, that's it. They're winning the Super Bowl. This is what they did to the Pats for a decade. And then I remember the reaction in Kansas City when the Chiefs absolutely wrecked the Patriots for their banner ceremony. And what was a very big win for their franchise. And there were people that were like, that's it for the Patriots. We're done here. Just going to pack up our bags and move on. If you are taking this loss to the Lions, a one-point loss in which they played their C game, loss to the Lions, as the chance to bury the Chiefs, big mistake.
But it's predictable, right? I mean,
big mistake.
None of us thought the offense would look as bad with the drops and score as few points as they did. Like, that's not how we thought the game script was going to go. But we said yesterday, we know if the Lions win, it's like, hey, can they win the Super Bowl? And if the Chiefs lose, it's going to be like, uh-oh, are they done? And that's exactly what it was. Very predictable. We know how the national debate shows go. I'm not surprised. We knew this was going to happen. I'm concerned, certainly, about what this wide receiver progression can be as we get going. But I think it's way too early to panic. It is one game. Next week's a huge one against the Jags. I think we got to wait this out for a couple more weeks before we think that this is going to be the offensive struggle. They didn't have Travis Kelce or Chris Jones on the field last night. So
two of their three best players.
So go ahead on any team in the league in this weekend, pluck off their two best players that are non-quarterbacks, and let's see how much that dictates the game a little bit. You know, whether it's Cincinnati, if you told me now they have a deep wide receiver room, so the wide receiver. But take Jamar Chase and your best defensive player out of the game and tell me he doesn't impact the game at all.
Who's Cincinnati's best defensive player in your opinion?
Is it Hendrickson or what's his name?
He's a very good player.
I would say Hendrickson probably, but also Logan Wilson's another one. The linebacker.
I just don't know if we can say, well, we know what the Chiefs are this year after 1 week and without their two best players outside of Mahomes.
I kind of hope we get week one chaos now, obviously. I'm hoping to
look. It has. I mean, even though it's an NFC game, it definitely has potential seeding implications. I mean, that's even last night. I mean, it could next week against the Jags, definitely.
Single game against the NFC certainly helps. That game against the Jags, that's where all of a sudden, because the Jags have the Colts in week one, so we would assume that's probably a dub.
All the other quote unquote bigger teams have those games though. Like the Bills play the Jets, AFC. The Bengals play the Browns. That's in division, and
Well, and the good thing, the Chiefs. What's in front of them still? 16 games, by the way. Not only is it the Jags, who could be a number one seed contender, they still got to play the Bills head to head. They play Cincinnati head to head. They play the Jets head to head. You know what I mean? You play the Chargers head to head twice. You just go through they have every game in front of them still to where they can dictate how this bad boy is going to go as we get further on. But yeah, last night was. I mean, it wasn't stunning that they lost, as we said at the end of the show yesterday. If they were to lose, the manner they lost is what was so stunning. It was the offense's problem, not the defense. It was Kadarius Toney drop city. It was it was a Tyreek Hill bobble pick six, which happened a couple times in his career last night from Kadarius Toney, though. You know, that was what was so surprising about the performance. The offense scoring 20 points in the game.
Drops again by Toney.
I just want to know
who has had a really poor night.
Yes,
God, Tarico's putting it about as gently as he could. I went ahead and looked up. I was just curious. That 2017 Patriots team, they went on and won the Super Bowl that year. They lost that first game to the Chiefs. They started 2-2. They lost a game to the Carolina Panthers in the first 4 games as well. They finished the season 13-3, the number one seed in the AFC, and went on to win the Super Bowl, including beating the Chiefs in the divisional round in the playoffs.
It's something that happens every year, though, doesn't it? To every team.
It's just weirder in week one. The Chiefs lose a game they shouldn't every year from poor performance, just like this. It's usually against the Colts. It's really literally only against the AFC South typically. So we're confused because it's an NFC team. But yeah, every year the Chiefs lose some game they shouldn't. Most NFL teams do. Actually, most NFL teams lose more than one. The Chiefs just do it the once. The Bills have been losing multiple befuddling games every year for like 4 years. It's why they never end up the 1 seed. They are always one of the best teams, and then they keep dropping games to teams that you're like, but how?
It's not like they lost to the Bears.
No.
They lost to the Lions, who people are picking to win the division.
I did. You guys are both. Are you guys? You want a waiver?
No, I'm sticking with.
Hold on,
After 1 week, I'm not changing
I'm
mine.
giving you one free pass right now.
No.
One free pass.
No,
we chose our division winners this
I
week.
have the Lions as a playoff team. I have the Vikings to win the division. I'm not changing because, as I told you, it was a very, very impressive win for the Lions. But I did not walk away last night thinking, oh my gosh, the Eagles, the Cowboys, Niners, you guys are in big trouble. The big bad. No, like they lived up to the offseason hype, and you don't apologize for how you win games and how small the margin is at all. But like, there's some games you watch a team go out and dominate somebody, you're like, wow. Oh man, and that's not. They
sent a message.
I didn't feel that way. That's all.
I might take you up on that, actually. we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show.
But you don't have them in the playoffs at all. That's probably the difference.
Yeah, I'll give you one free pass. You want to get them in the playoffs?
We'll find out a little bit later.
Okay.
I still have to think on it.
Thank you very much, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's give you a chance for a pizza from our friends over at the other place. Just be the 19th caller, Kadarius Toney. 19th caller.
Wait, shouldn't it be 0? That's how many catches.
Well, we can't do 0 callers. we can't do caller 0.
Wait, hold on. Do caller 4. That's how many drops he had.
Okay,
right?
fine. Caller 4, 913-586-7610, getting hooked up with a pizza from the other place. Up next, we'll get to what's trending. We will get right back into the conversation talking about this entire wide receiver room and what it actually means for the future.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
This fall, they are coming back.
You know where you are?
For you.
You're in the jungle, baby.
Guns N' Roses, live. North America 2023 with special guest Alice in Chains. Saturday, September 23rd, Kauffman Stadium. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Finally, back in North America. Don't miss Guns N' Roses.
Are you ready for the biggest party of the year? Nickelback with a live show unlike any other. September 19th at T-Mobile Center. Nickelback, the Get Rollin' Tour with Brantley Gilbert and Josh Ross. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Get rollin'. Don't miss Nickelback.
This season, Sonic has taken their game to a whole new level. Get ready for Sonic Buffalo Chicken Dip Bites. Danon Hughes here, and that's right. Sonic has made Buffalo Chicken Dip portable using juicy chicken, buffalo sauce, and melty cheese, all stuffed in a golden brown shell. They're crispy on the outside and creamy on the inside. It's the ultimate game day snack made portable. Sonic Buffalo Chicken Dip Bites are only $2.99, and they're only available for a limited time. So what are you waiting for? Get Sonic Buffalo Chicken Dip Bites for all your favorite games.
The Garmin Kansas City 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon returns. KC's largest and most exhilarating race event will take you through incredible neighborhoods and past amazing landmarks. Participants receive an official Garmin Kansas City Marathon shirt, finisher's medal, and professional photos. Celebrate during the Finish Line Festival with free food, beer, massages, and more. The Garmin Kansas City Marathon, Saturday, October 21st. Go to kcmarathon.org for details and registration. That's kcmarathon.org.
Dispatch, this is Mindy at Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Well, boy, it's getting hot out there. Now, if your AC is making funny noises, just needs a once-over, or your home isn't as cool as it used to be, visit missionphc.com. Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. License 202909.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my 5 steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. As a small business owner, I know that filing for the ERC tax refund can feel complicated and confusing. Also, I like pizza and puppies. There, done. Step 2, cold hard info. The ERC, or Employee Retention Credit for long, is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refund's network of independent tax attorneys could help you claim it. Step 3, call to action. Go to innovationrefunds.com to get started. Step 4, the jingle I wrote myself. Actually, scratch that. Just go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS and go to Step 5, legal stuff.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
Yeah. It's a masterpiece.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution lets you attract candidates and even conduct virtual interviews. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
One of my favorite times of the year has arrived. That is football season, but it also means we're getting a little bit closer where you got to start thinking about your boat. You got to start thinking about winterizing that boat. So you need to let Midwest Marine Boat Company's elite part and service department take care of your boat so you're all ready to go for next year. Midwest Marine Boat Company will winterize your boat, shrink wrap your boat. They can help with storing your boat. Midwest Marine Boat Company still has all the great savings, though, I've been telling you about. When it comes to the 2023 models, you want to take advantage of those savings before manufacturer prices change. You know that's going to happen. You do not want to be left out and missing this great opportunities. And for the rest of September, they're still going to offer that $2,000 trade-in allowance on all Bennington pontoons and tri-tunes. Midwest Marine Boat Company, home of the largest indoor showroom in the Kansas City area. I was amazed still when I walked in there for the very first time. You will be as well at 13800 South Highway 71 in Grandview. Midwest Marine Boat Company. We take pride in your fun.
Get ready for the upcoming NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket fresh from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the perfect time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything for this upcoming NFL season. So visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code CDOT if you want to kick the NFL season off with an offer that you don't want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued. A non-withdrawable bonus pick that expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement. Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com. NFL Sunday ticket offer ends September 18th of 2023. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday ticket. Not on YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and a current form of payment. Commercials excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Dick Butkus here. I've got a game changer for you. When it comes to creating a winning website, there's only one team I trust. AmericanEagle.com. I've known them for 25 years. In my career, I learned that success isn't just about talent, it's about teamwork. That's what you'll find at AmericanEagle.com. They'll listen to your goals and work with you and handle all your digital properties. They'll ensure your website is user-friendly, responsive, and optimized for search engines. AmericanEagle.com also provides ongoing support and digital marketing strategies that will keep you ahead of the competition. They even host our podcast. Whether you're a medium to large business or a big-time player, AmericanEagle.com is the top choice. Visit www.AmericanEagle.com for website design, development, and online solutions that deliver efficiency and results. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call them at 877-WEB-NOW-1.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, it's Jawan Taylor, and you're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, the Chiefs, of course, lose the opener last night, 21-20. We'll get right back into the wide receiver unit as a whole, but this is what Andy Reid had to say about all the drops that occurred.
It's unusual for us to drop that many passes anywhere, anytime. So we'll go back and work on that. But you got to take care of business, and these guys know that, and so we've got to fix that.
Yeah, I did have a lot of people texting me, like outside of Kansas City. They're like, "Was drops a problem, like in camp and stuff?" Like, no, that's what was. No, it was not. Now, Rashee Rice in college did, but last night he was actually one of the better wide receivers.
Yeah, Rashee Rice had drop problems in camp,
but he wasn't the issue. It was obviously Tony and Sky Moore. We'll talk more about them specifically, but the Chiefs have some time here to regroup before the Jags come to town, and all eyes will once again be on Kelsey's health and Chris Jones.
And now Kadarius Toney. Next up on What's Trending, Salvador Perez is a finalist for the Roberto Clemente Award. Not the first time he's been up for it. Obviously, Salvi's a great guy. Overall, it'd be nice to see a Royals player win this thing. It's been a while since a Royals player was able to take this home. I hope Salvador Perez is the guy who's able to do it. Good for Salvi, by the way.
Yeah.
This might be his final year in Kansas City.
I was going to say, this could be it. Yeah.
Remember I told you I wanted to get out one more time to watch Zach Greinke pitch? You should probably be feeling that same way about Salvador Perez. You get out to the last game, get out one more time. This might be the last time you see Salvador Perez in a Royals uniform.
I'm with Vern a little bit, though. He was saying, hey, Greinke, remember the fond memories. That's why not to go out. I kind of am that way still with Salvi. I've seen Salvi play enough. I got 2015 and 2014. I don't know if I need to go see Salvi's final home game in Kansas City. What might be his final home game on. He's got to get traded for that to happen. But
no, I know. I'm
might
just
be his final home
worried
game.
it could be. That's all.
Next up on What's Trending, local college football. Kansas in action tonight in Lawrence. They're taking on Illinois. The Jayhawks 3.5-point favorites against the Fighting Illini. Jalen Daniels seems like he's going to play, but we'll see. MU taking on Middle Tennessee Saturday, 6 o'clock. And K-State taking on Troy at 11. I believe you can hear that game right here on 610 Sports Radio tomorrow.
Plus, tell Drew where he can tailgate, right? Same thing as the Chiefs game.
Yeah, Drew needs your help there.
Tell
He's going
Drew
out there.
where he should go while he's going to be out in Manhattan. Remember, we converted him to a K-State fan, told him he had to choose one of the locals. He went with K-State. He is already attending his first K-State football game. He will be out there tomorrow against Troy.
Not bad. Look at that support.
So if K-State fans, you got a spot to help your fellow K-State fan, Drew, at the game, let us know where to be. On the text line, 913-586-7610, or over on the video stream chats. I'll monitor those as well.
Drew's going to have he's going to come back on Monday, and he's going to have every K-State. He's going to have the fight song memorized. He's going to Wabash. He's going to have everything figured out.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to do some research tonight to just make sure I'm up to par with everything and I'm ready to go.
It'll be good. You could, by the way, you don't have to watch a video like the Missouri one. You can just learn it while you're there. They'll teach you. It's not that big a deal. Next up on What's Trending, we haven't talked a lot about it today due to the fact that Chiefs lost, and they announced it literally when the game was starting. But Joe Burrow, if you missed it, did sign a 5-year, $275 million extension with $219 million of that guaranteed. It makes him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history from an average annual perspective and gives him the second most guaranteed money in NFL history, second only to Deshaun Watson. It is, however, quite a bit more guaranteed than Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I do not think, and it should be, I'm not saying that, but that is not insignificant when you consider the fact they both came into the same class, they both had a lot of success, and were going to get paid. The difference is one guy made it to the Super Bowl. My favorite thing is that it was only a 5-year extension, so 7 years total, which means they didn't do the 12-year thing like Mahomes, which means a little less flexibility than the Chiefs, although, I mean, it's fine. Joe Burrow's worth $55 million a year. It's not a problem paying him.
Again, like all these, keep an eye on it, what it means eventually for some sort of restructure of a Mahomes deal next offseason. Now you got another dollar amount that's even higher to keep in line with it and keep an eye on. And we'll see what that ends up being. But that's something at some point that we know is going to happen. Not like Mike Florio, who said it was going to happen week 1 or before week 1 of the season, but probably something that happens in the offseason.
Well, now that all the deals are done, it can happen whenever. It can happen week 10.
But why would they do it in season? The Chiefs the Chiefs really don't do that stuff in season, man. They just don't.
The extensions for quarterbacks like this, those sometimes happen in season.
Chiefs,
this is a different contract situation. I still think it'll be an off-season thing, but I don't really care when it happens. I don't care how many people want to watch his wallet. It's fine.
Exactly. All right, lastly on What's Trending, I'm assuming it was our boss sent this tweet out. He wanted to know if Vinny's feeling a little bit better about our Chiefs-Jets watch party in terms of his odds of winning the bet he made with us. You guys know, October 1st, we're going to be out at Hollywood Casino, Turn 2 Sports Bar there, and it'll be Sunday Night Football, Chiefs, Jets, great silent auction. Vinny Pasquantino, some of his teammates are going to be out there as well. Proceeds benefiting Wayside Waves. And we have a bet on this show with Vinny. If the Jets win, Vinny gets playoff tickets from us. If the Chiefs win, we get Crown Club tickets.
Then Vinny has to pay for it. That was a very specific stipulation.
And
don't get it from the team.
My guess
is,
I think Vinny's a smart enough sports fan to know that, he's not going to overreact and feel confident all of a sudden just because of what happened last night. Plus, his team still has to play Monday Night Football. Let's see what the Jets look like.
I will say this. Vinny was doing some scouting. He was texting me in the middle of the game last night saying, woof. Maybe they should have gone after DeAndre Hopkins. He was asking some of those questions last night about the Chiefs' performance. So, we'll talk to our NFL insider next Tuesday, of course. But we want to see you out there October 1st.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get a sneak peek of what some of the items might be tomorrow. I'm going to see Vinny on the wiffle ball field tomorrow. I believe he is my coach for a wiffle ball game tomorrow, which apparently is a part of my personality. This is like the 10th wiffle ball game I feel like I've played this year.
Way
and
more
I
wiffle
didn't
ball than
mean
ever.
to play this many wiffle ball games. I just have.
I hope it goes better than the little private game we had a week or so ago.
Well, that game was going pretty good for me from an offensive standpoint.
You performed well.
I raked until I made a game-crushing error that cost our entire team the game.
You performed well. Your team did not win, though. Your team did not win.
No.
You and Drew were on the same team for that one. That was a secret, private, underground wiffle ball game.
Can we say it now, or is it?
That was a tough loss.
I don't know.
We played wiffle ball at the Little K.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to say it before, but we just did now, so whatever. But yeah.
It was fun. We did it before we did the hot dog race.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. We're now inside the huddle, brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Reminder, it's a Friday, right? Club 610 coming up at 1 o'clock today, presented by Jay Rieger & Co., and we will have an actual bartender during Club 610. How awesome is that going to be? Looking forward to that.
I got to ask him what the cocktail is today.
And we'll find out together maybe what that cocktail is going to be. Man, Twitter was on fire last night. Social media was on fire. Today is one of those, we as much as yesterday we said productivity was going to be low because of excitement, today, let's just be honest. It's a Friday. The Chiefs lost. People were up late last night.
Yeah, what time did you get home from the stadium?
Spoiler, by the way, new season, same parking mess.
That was actually one of my favorite things that happened on the show. Drew was like, hey, with all that space, I bet parking's really easy. Like, just not knowing, have you ever been
behind? And so, but I entered the parking lot, right? I scanned my ticket or my parking pass at 5 p.m., okay? It was 5:42 before I actually parked my car. And you're like, how is that possible? That's because of what Cody said. They wind you around to their place. Finally, I find a very nice parking attendant. I appreciate this. I said, hey, look, I've been going in a circle essentially for the last 35 minutes. They let me in and I parked in the gold parking and we're good to go. So.
Wow. Hey, you making it sound a lot friendlier. Were you rude? Were you rude to this parking attendant?
No.
Were you saying,
do you
look,
think
you can either put me in this spot
I was rude?
or I'm going to cause a scene? I'm Alex Gold.
I definitely did not name drop at all. I promise you
I have tickets to a suite. Did you show where your seats were?
I promise you I did not do that. I definitely did not name drop. No, you think if I was an ass to the parking attendant, they would have let me in?
Hard to say.
I was in complete opposite of that. Very nice. Like, hey, man, no, it's not your fault. I've been driving around for 35 minutes in this circle. Can I just please park my car here? And he's like, you know what? Just go. And that was it. Great.
Wow. Just let it go. He's like, yeah, look, man, I don't care.
And then leaving is just the normal, like, I actually got out of the lot quick. It was more like Eastwood traffic way, just bumper to bumper for an hour. Anyway, there you go. There you go.
So it was like
man.
one.
So I was like in the car just tweeting through it with people.
Yeah, that's fair. And look, the thing we were tweeting through the most was the wide receivers.
Oh, yeah.
We had said, first, they were the main topic of conversation this offseason, as we know, because they abandoned the veteran route. We have talked about how little experience the entire unit has as a whole. Then Kelsey was gone, so it was like a true test. What would the wide receiver look like when they are counted on to do it on their own? And the answer was garbage.
Right through the hands of Tony.
Over and over.
They looked bad. Justin Watson or MVS had the best days. They both had 2 catches. I just want to point that out real quick. Of the wide receivers, Tony had one of the worst days in the history of the NFL at wide receiver.
It was.
That's not even hyperbole.
Brutal.
Don't take this as I don't think that Kadarius Toney can have a good season because he's still explosive and he gets open and all those things.
Yeah, he's going to help him win a game, multiple games this year.
But he lost him this one. That's the key. Of any player, if you're like, all right, Cody, there are 53 men on the roster and there's coaches, rank them in order. The top 5 people most responsible for the loss. Kadarius Toney is number 1 with a bullet. He almost single-handedly cost him that game yesterday. There's other reasons why you lose a football game, but he had 4 drops. 1 led to a pick 6. 1 was at a critical moment in the fourth quarter. He had a run for negative yardage. His game fell apart last night, and he has to find a way to rebound from that because he still has the talent, obviously. So he's just got to find a rebound. He deleted his Twitter account.
Yeah, some people claim maybe he had it deleted before the game started, but it definitely the account is definitely deleted though as of right now. When it occurred, that's unknown.
Maybe it was after he was sending those DMs.
Maybe that's unknown at this time. But look, you're right about bouncing back though, because I asked this with Pete Sweeney earlier. I think it's very important on just like the mental confidence side of things for him to bounce back and obviously get through a game without dropping the football next week against the Jags. I'm not saying he needs to go for 100 yards next week, but even if it's like 2 or 3 catches, but just no drops, clean game, I think that's massive. Otherwise, you like if it becomes like next week where he drops a couple passes, then it becomes I think a mental hurdle, and you really do have to start wondering about it impacting the entire season. I'm not there yet whatsoever. I do think he's going to win them multiple football games this year. He won, he helped win the Super Bowl as well. Let's not forget that.
But
last night was awful. It was a pitiful performance. Inexcusable, frankly, from an NFL wide receiver. Let's hope that it's because he hadn't practiced much and the timing, misjudging the football and all that. Hopefully that is what it actually was. You're right. If you're looking for any positive in the wide receiver room, was impressed by Rashee Rice. I think it's another sign he clearly has come up quicker than Sky Moore did a year ago, just in terms of grasping the offense. And we'll see. They were rotating 7 different wide receivers in that game last night. And it's depth, but it's also probably a sign, especially when Kelsey's not playing like last night, that they don't know the answer yet of who they can rely on.
I thought they were kind of like searching.
Yeah. And so that's hopefully something that they figure out. But last year, we were wondering what the offense would look like without Tyreek Hill, and they were able to get up to speed pretty quick right away, by the way. I think we're finding out it might take a little bit longer for this wide receiver room to get the confidence, to get the rapport down. And let's not forget, when we're having any wide receiver conversation about last night, the obvious is Travis Kelce wasn't playing in the game last night.
And he will make everyone's job easier, which is the whole point we've made about wide receiver from the beginning.
You can get by without having a stud, legit, proven number one because you have a stud, proven number one tight end who's basically a wide receiver in Kelce. You didn't have him last night. As badly as he wanted to play, they held him out. I think that was the right decision, by the way. Win or lose, that was the right decision. Get him ready for the Jags game and move forward. And that's going to open things up. If you were the Lions, Noah Gray, Blake Bell, you're not exactly giving them as much attention as you are Travis Kelce. Not only are they it's just the reality of the situation. And so harder to get separation. And the few times you got separation, as you pointed out, Kadarius Toney didn't catch the football. He was getting separation. Couldn't catch the ball last night.
That was the thing that you guys talked about earlier, is at least Kadarius was getting open. So Kadarius ran 11 routes on Mahomes' 45 dropbacks last night.
Like half of the time he
per
ran
Pro
around.
Football Focus. He had 5 targets, 1 catch. Obviously had the drop. Sky Moore, 31 routes, targeted only 3 times.
That, to me, and again, I think Sky will be helped by Travis. I think everyone will be helped by Travis, but I might be on an island here. I felt worse about Sky after that game than I did Toney.
Interesting.
Toney's problems seem fit. Catching the ball, that is a fixable problem. Not getting open is not a fixable problem. Or it's a much harder problem to fix. Sky was out there the whole game. They were running him like he was a 1. They target Toney like he's a 1, and I think eventually he'll get those snaps as he gets healthier, gets his feet, gets his sea legs under him, right? From a run perspective, it was just, and I'm going to try not to just fully go off the cliff here, because that I had very serious concerns about the wide receivers. This did not help that.
Well, of course not. I would be, there's no way it does. I'm still right now believing that a large part of last night was you didn't have your best receiver out there, Travis Kelce. And so with the team that's trying to get 7 different players involved in this offense to to be able to prove themselves, when you didn't take away the guy that is proven, that draws all the attention, I think it created clearly challenges last night. So let's see what happens in the next week or two. As far as Sky Moore goes, we knew he was going to get a lot of snaps because McCole Hardman's gone. All the slot snaps just about are going to go to Sky Moore. That's why he ran the most routes. It makes sense. You probably could have actually predicted that. Just couldn't have predicted the fact that there'd be drop city all over the place.
And he was responsible for some of those.
Yeah, including the last play of the offense had.
Do you guys feel like the reason Andy kept 7 is because he had a lack of confidence in one, or I
think he's just trying to find it. He was just trying to find the rhythm that was going to get the offense going.
Okay, because I feel like when we talk about the rotation and him keeping them, he didn't feel comfortable with a certain set of guys playing. He wanted everybody to get run because he doesn't feel like any one person has stood out enough to be that number one guy. And maybe MVS and Sky should take the next step. Maybe that's why he got more routes.
Justin Watson was actually good last night. I know we don't want that to be the name, the guy. I know we don't want that to be the guy.
Hunter Dozier was the best hitter tonight. It's not. It does not mean a good thing typically.
I understand. I understand, but he was reliable.
That's why Justin Watson's on this team. For anybody who's trying to bury him or get him cut before, no. They need him. He's old reliable. Justin Watson has a place on this team for a reason because he is their new D-Rob. Which means when things are bleak and you just need one guy that Patrick trusts to throw it to, you might not have liked DeMarcus Robinson. Patrick Mahomes trusted that DeMarcus Robinson would be where he was supposed to be. MVS made 1 great catch. That's usually what he's good for.
Really good catch.
I have nothing against MVS's game. He had 2 catches for almost 50 yards. That is MVS in a nutshell. Yep. That has been his entire career. He did exactly what he has been signed and paid to do. MVS did. He had the identical job and did his job. Justin Watson did his job, maybe went above his job requirements. it's Tony and Sky Moore that came up short in this unit.
Sure.
It wasn't the whole unit came up short of their job responsibilities.
Yeah,
those two did.
It'll be interesting. I mean, hopefully this is something that is solved next week. But if not, how many weeks in do they continue with the starting group rep-wise being what it is? If you're going to have 7 active wide receivers, do you eventually in a couple weeks, if the problems persist, do you see more of Justin Ross? Do you see more of a Richie James? I don't think they're there yet. It's one
You want Drew
freaking
to give
game.
us his top 5 trade targets for the deadline at
Oh
wide
gosh, it's
receiver?
too early for that. It's too early. That's
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans has already been brought up a couple of times.
We're about 2 weeks away if they continue to struggle for that actually being a real conversation.
Oh, that'll
But
be a national conversation in about 3
I
weeks.
can't do that after week 1. Sorry, I can't do that after week 1.
Honestly, don't do it to
That's
yourself.
crazy. That's crazy after 1 week.
Drew, good news. Bad news for us. The show bets last night came up short. Although I'm still mad at Jahmyr Gibbs.
He tripped. Otherwise, he was going to get the first touchdown.
He had it. Jahmyr
He
Gibbs
tripped. He was
had
going to
it.
cut. He was going to get to the edge, and he was going to score.
But let's peel behind the curtain here. So yesterday we make our show bet. We're good to go. We're ready. We're like, all right, let's make it. We're going to get in here. Maybe we'll make another bet today for the college football weekend. We'll see. See if we're feeling good during Club 610 if we get a cocktail. But so, Drew, we were talking about all the bonuses that are available on all these sites right now, right? Like if you haven't signed up for some of these Gold, right? You can go for a promo code.
All I guess, just if you want the insight, just text in or tweet at me. We'll tell you what the promos are. There's some that have some really good ones, including basically a free jersey.
So, yeah, so there was a free jersey one, but unfortunately, I don't really trust. I didn't like this site, so I wasn't going to use it. I didn't need a jersey at the time, so I'm like, well, I'm not doing this promo. I don't need a jersey. Drew did.
And you ordered a Chiefs jersey?
No.
Unfortunately, no.
Another Bengals, the same Bengals jersey you're wearing today, the day after the Chiefs lost?
Not a AJ Green one.
Okay.
But because of that, I was like, hey, Drew, no big deal. You've already signed up for the site. I got you. You need a new jersey. I want to be nice to our new producer. I want to help him out. We barely know each other. But, people helping people is what I did. But Drew, as the kind person he is, was like, well, hey, I'm viewing this as if I've just bought this jersey. Let's make a bet. So let's take this deposit we have to make for $50 and let's make a wager. And I'm like, well, if we're going to do it, let's take a long shot. So we did a first touchdown bet last night on Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you might remember, $50 just won us a little over $500.
Thanks for looping me in on this one. I appreciate that, guys. I really
this
appreciate
is
that.
Specifically me and Drew. The deposits come in, Drew. I'll Venmo you the cash. We're
nice
square.
hit. That's a hell of a hit. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, you watched last night. He's the real deal. We've known that. That's a nice hit. But I did think Jahmyr Gibbs. I think
he had it. I think the show bet was going to hit, and we were going to have more money in the show fund. But because we looped you out, the money we lost, the $20 we lost in the show bet.
Okay.
I'm gonna put back in the account from this one on Amon-Ra.
I'll also put in some more. I will take some of the money and put it also in. So we'll add it up.
Because we left you out.
Yes.
Drew and I are gonna put a little bit of money back into the show fund.
Okay.
So that we can make another bet maybe during Club 610, get a vibe for what everyone's feeling this weekend. We'll put a little bit more money back into the show fund, and we'll figure out something to bet this weekend.
Okay. I appreciate that. I think that's a good thing. Well, people want to know what kind of jersey you're getting.
You'll find out in a couple weeks.
You know,
you
it's a
already
Bengals
know it's
jersey.
a
You're
jersey,
getting a
though.
Kadarius Toney jersey. That's quite the
Oh.
supportive move. Nice on you. You're saying you're going all in. Joe Burrow, no. Kadarius Toney, yes.
God, I saw that NFL memes account put out one that just said Detroit Lions player of the game, and it was just Toney. I was like, oh,
that's brutal.
Well, I mean, the Lions only
we
scored
know
13.
how this stuff
Toney
goes.
scored 7.
I mean, look, we know how this goes. Whether it's Toney or whether it's a player or not. Like, you're going to get crushed when you have a game like that.
Yeah,
Of course,
you can't hide from that.
Social media is going to torch you, and he also talked trash on the city and team that he used to play for. Of course, they were ready for it. Is this what happened? Like, it's when you're kicking ass, it's fun because you can give a middle finger to everybody.
Yeah,
it's just how it kind of works. It sucks. This is why, like, deep down, like, and it's hard to say because I'm on social media way too much myself. But like, if you really were smart as an athlete, you really just shouldn't be on social media whatsoever. You like whether you're great or not, like, you really probably shouldn't be on it for reasons like this. But that's kind of how it goes.
Sometimes it's nice though, right?
Oh yeah. Wait, after the Super Bowl, it was really nice. I'm sure.
You're also under control though of what you say. So you can celebrate and everything like that, but you don't need to poke fun at the Giants.
Yeah, that, and again, talking trash has recourse. Jamar Chase learned this. The
Yes.
Chiefs learned this with Jamar. Like, this is how it works. You are allowed to talk as much trash as you want when you win. Do not be surprised, Jamar, right? Jamar Chase is a great example of this, of what happens when you talk
Pat
trash
who?
and you come up short.
The Pat who
Because then he gets to say, that's who.
That was
and
such a
hold
good
up
response,
2
by the
Super
way.
Bowl rings.
That was so good.
Oh yeah, you can't respond back to Mahomes after you did
you
that.
just-
I mean,
you
that's a mic drop moment. It's over at that
You just
point.
take your L. You take your L and you move on with life. That's all it is. You want to know what the drink is for Club 610 today?
Yeah, sure.
It's going to be monochromatic.
Monochromatic.
Rieger's Rye, Cafe Amaro, Pedro Jimenez Sherry, Dry Curacao, and bitters. This sounds interesting. Also, whiskey on a day after a Chiefs loss feels right.
Yeah.
Vodka
Oh,
gin,
thinking
those
of
are
that,
winning. Those are like summary
I will tell
win-
you, man. Look, it's Arrowhead and it's a Chiefs game, and people are already always having a good time. I don't know if it's just because it was the opener and people, but dude,
little sauced.
It was as liquored up as I've seen in a while, actually, out there. Like, there's always tailgate, but there was a very liquored up crowd yesterday at Arrowhead. Plenty of day drinking.
People feeling
happening all
themselves?
day.
There were also
plenty.
There were also a lot more Lions fans than I suspected would be there for a banner night.
There definitely were. Yeah, it stood out. Certainly towards the very end of the game, you could start to hear them.
This is the most excited Lions fans have been in a really, really, really long time. They were the favorite to win the division. When was the last time that happened for them?
No, that was
Charlie Batch.
That was one of, if not the biggest wins in franchise history, considering the circumstances of everything going around
By the
with
way,
it.
that ain't great for your history.
Yeah, that's how bad they've been. An opening night win.
That ain't great.
No, it was a huge deal for them. And look, they deserve props for it. Like I said, I didn't come away thinking, wow, this team's going to the Super Bowl after last night. They didn't play like that well. They didn't light up the Chiefs and like, man, oh man, look out. But they get a win on the road at Arrowhead opening night. For a team that has hype, they handled it. Pretty cool win for them, unfortunately. All right, it's a Red Friday. It's brought to you by ComCare. Call or text 988 for 24/7 mental health support. Coming up next, though, let's talk about this defense a little bit. Yeah, there was no Chris Jones, but plenty of positives did exist there, and we'll get to our random question of the day.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Nate Taylor joins the guys in studio Tuesdays at 1 during the season, right here on 610 Sports Radio.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
Hey everybody, this is Andrew Filipponi here, bringing you the parlay of the day, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
It's NFL season prediction time. My AFC champion is the Pittsburgh Steelers. With super long odds of 25-1, 9 of the past 10 Super Bowls have featured a team that failed to win a playoff game in the previous season. Pittsburgh will be this year's surprise team with a big jump from Kenny Pickett. My Super Bowl winner is the Eagles. The 2018 Patriots proved you can conquer the Super Bowl hangover and win the Super Bowl the next year. Somehow Jalen Hurts still underrated. Philly 8-1 to win it all.
That's it for the parlay of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app today and make every moment more with America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in Kansas. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals and will share information with them to evaluate and process your claims. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. You can trust Innovation Refunds with your small business's ERC claim because of their SOC 2 Type 1 security compliance. And if you're a tech person, you know that's a big deal. I'm not a tech person, but I did look it up. Without this certification, how can you be sure a company can protect your information? It's not like here on the radio, where all you need to be secure is a sensor button. Check it out. So now you won't know my date of birth is or that my social security number is the password to my bank account is Ty's Cool Password 1. Uh-oh, the button's broken. Luckily, Innovation Refunds is more reliable. Don't wait. Go to innovationrefunds.com. That's innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS to get started. Oh, a notification from my bank. Wait, I didn't buy a
Boat. Tailgates in Turkey? Yes, please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey can be used for succulent sliders, killer kebabs, championship chili, or even brilliant burnt ends. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack worth nearly $2,000, including a portable Traeger grill, Yeti cooler, Chiefs gear, and much more at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot. Come on, KC, turn up your tailgate at tailgatewithturkey.com.
Barbecue Whiskey Hotline, how can I help you? You're looking for a delicious barbecue whiskey to use behind the grill? The ultimate whiskey for marinades and glazes? Sweet, smoky flavor to pair perfectly with any of your favorite barbecue recipes, be it ribs, wings, brisket, or beef? That would be Curveball Barbecue Whiskey. Curveball with a K. Curveball Barbecue Whiskey. Delicious sweet barbecue meets smooth American whiskey. Happy to help.
Drink Curveball and be a bonehead responsibly. Over 21. Find Curveball at Target, Hy-Vee, and Lucas Liquors, or ask your liquor store for Curveball Whiskey. That's Curveball with a K. Curveball Barbecue Whiskey.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
If you or someone you know is suicidal or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 support, just call, text, or chat 988. Sponsored by ComCare and Rediscover.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
College football fans, are you ready for Week 1? DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking you up with a can't-miss offer to start the season strong. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Anything can happen in college football. Your team could go from unranked to dynasty mode in just a couple of years. Change comes fast. The only thing that's a lock is the great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. Life's more fun when you're in on the action, and you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college football. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code KCSP. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over and physically present in Kansas. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time to turn up your summertime fun with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, real brewed tea with 5% alcohol. So whether you're camping, fishing, or at the beach with friends, don't forget to fill your cooler with those bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This cardboard order, is it up to date?
Camila's recyclable coffee cup factory can no longer be considered a grande.
Redesign? It's at the printer.
She needs more designers to jump the business to a triple shot.
Client wants to see several more design options. The logo's gotta be bigger.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you've had painful kidney stones, you
you know you don't want more. Moonstone Stone Stopper is a simple solution that works. Created and recommended by top kidney stone doctors, Stone Stopper is an alkali citrate formula scientifically proven to prevent crystallization. Stone Stopper's patented formula is gentle on the stomach and is available in easy-to-swallow capsules, gummies, and powder drinks that make hydration delicious. Stone Stopper is available at participating Walmart and Walgreens stores. Look for the red stop sign on the bottom shelf of the vitamin aisle. For more information or to find a store near you, go to stonestopper.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com.
Max Motors understands it's a big decision where you buy your next vehicle. Let us prove it to you. We'll beat any dealer's offer by $500, period. See what makes Max Motors dealerships worth the drive. Best financing options available and the highest trade-in values. MaxMotors.com.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Club 610, about 25 minutes away, presented by Jay Rieger and company. We'll also get to all 32 around the NFL. It's a huge NFL weekend. I know a little damper on it after the loss last night, but by the time we get to Sunday, enjoy Sunday and watch all the games, and we'll get back in action, of course, next week with the Chiefs take on the Jags. College football weekend ahead as well. I think if there's something out of the game that you look at and you say, okay, this is something to build on, though, in a positive way, it's still a defensive performance, right? It's a defensive performance against an offense that was one of the best in the league a year ago, that added additional playmakers in the offseason, had a quarterback that was playing as good as anybody, actually, down the stretch. Believe it or not, I know, Jared Goff, but down the stretch was. And you held them to 21 points. And, again, 7 of those were a pick 6 your defense wasn't even on the field for. Without Chris Jones, I think that's a promising sign. And particularly, we were wondering who could exceed expectations. And we said, well, there's no expectation for Felix and Udike Uzama. Last night was a nice positive. Is he going to catch on quicker than we thought? Remember, there's no Charles Omenihu for 5 more games now. And they're still going to eventually add Omenihu to the picture. You have to feel decent about what the defense gave you last night. I get it. They weren't perfect. Couple 3rd down and 12s. They gave up. Obviously, they seemed to tire down a little bit late. But that would have potentially happened with Chris Jones. You think with Chris Jones in there, they weren't going to hold the Lions to 7 points last night.
They held them to 14. What do you mean they're not going to hold them to 7? That's as good of an effort. Yeah. 14 points a game, as Drew pointed out earlier, would have been the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL last year. All right, even if you factor in, let's just factor in the 7 that technically works against everybody. We know that wasn't points the Chiefs gave up, the 7 defensive scored, but when we calculate points per game at the end of the year, nobody's going through and doing the math on how many defensive scores adjusted that line. Because over 17 games, it doesn't really matter at the number, but it will impact your number. At 21 points a game, you'd be a top 10 defense. Yeah. 21 points a game or less means Patrick Mahomes is 41-3. This would only be the 3rd loss in his entire NFL career, which means if they let up that amount of points or more, they got a 94% chance of winning the football game. Do you know what kind of success right there? It's okay. We're good. Defensively, I felt great. Yeah. I feel like the 2 biggest things that people asked about coming out of the game, defense was very few. It was Tony, and then people asking about whether Jawan Taylor was cheating.
And
how far he was lining back.
And short yardage, right? Play calling, short yardage decision-making. But, yeah, defense is way down the list of complaint. Trey McDuffie forced a turnover, right? They got to be opportunistic defensively in the red zone. They got to force turnover. Brian Cook recovers it. They did a nice job defensively. A man down, and not just a random man down, the best defensive tackle in football, a guy that also got 15.5 sacks a season ago. So I believe the secondary held up very nicely against Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is one of the top-tier receivers in this league. So, yeah, you feel good about that, and they'll get another test next week against Jacksonville, and they may not have Chris Jones for that game either. But I think it makes you feel better about where the defense is at already early in the year. How many years in a row did Steve Spagnuolo say, hey, it might take us a couple weeks to get revved up? They were ready to roll right out of the gate. Remember, the 3-and-out, immediately, 3-and-out for us.
Almost got a second 3-and-out, except for they went for the 4th down punt conversion and got that and eventually scored the touchdown. That was their second drive. That was a 3-and-out. They just got fooled on a fake punt. Tobe got pantsed. And then they had to figure it out. Like the text line, I don't get this. 816. Batted balls, and that could have made things much worse. That's part of playing defense. Batting the balls down is a win. That is part of your job.
Yeah, Carlos Dunlap last year did that all the time.
Because they batted the ball down. That's part of the strategy. You stop going at the quarterback, you get your hands up in the air, and you knock the ball down because that inevitably helps your defense. And this is one of their better performances in 2 years. Across the board. We have come on the show a couple of times over the few years and been, wow, what a performance from the defense. This is one of those. That was a top 3 offense in the NFL. The Chiefs, based on the way they were playing offense last night, could have got run. Detroit averaged almost 30 points a game last year. They could have gotten beaten by 10 had they not been able to compete the way they did defensively. And the other part about this that we always talk about the defense that frustrates me normally is the offense helps you out so much. What's your problem? This was the opposite of one of those games. The offense was consistently putting them in the position where you had to keep defending. You were on the field because the offense wasn't having these big, long, sustained drives throughout the game.
The last time that sentence was uttered, though, was when?
The what?
Week 3 against the Colts. Where we said, hey, this is. I remember after week 3 against the Colts, we said, hey, this isn't on the D. This is on Mahomes and the offense. That was after the Colts game last
this
year.
This one was on Mahomes. This was on the wide receivers.
That one though. That was the narrative last one. No, not last night. But a year ago, week 3 Colts loss is hey, the defense actually did. I know people wanted to blame Chris Jones for the penalty in that game against the Colts, right? But it was the offense that couldn't move the ball consistently against the Colts, and it very similar. Even if this time it was drop city, but it was kind of the same feeling. And if we remember, by the way, they recovered from the Colts game and they ended up being just fine. We're going to see over the next couple weeks how this team recovers. And a big part of that is getting Travis Kelce and Chris Jones back in the mix, specifically Travis Kelce offensively after last night, because they're going to need Chris Jones in some of these games. I know last night, they didn't need Chris Jones. There's going to be games where they need Chris Jones when they face him.
Yes, obviously.
Even better quarterback than what Jared Goff is bringing to the table, where you feel like you got to get pressure. Remember, Jared Goff, when you blitz him, very, very good. Last night, they were able to, at times, get a little bit of pressure. They didn't get home with sacks other than Mike Dana, right? He had the only sack. And Mike Dana he had a bat down and a sack. Mike Dana was active.
Dana Karlaftis, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, those guys all showed up. Quickly on the offensive line, because I think we've only discussed them like once or twice today. One, I would just tell you as a Chiefs fan, if they're not going to call false start, you shouldn't care what Jawan Taylor's doing. Like, I understand you're like, it's going to cost them. Like, no one's calling it, so you probably shouldn't care. But I also, credit to Nate Tice. He does for the Ringer, he does some NFL analysis. He pulled up all the old footage from where right tackles used to line up in the 80s. It is exactly where Jawan Taylor is standing.
That's an old
He's
school.
just doing a throwback lineup. He's not lining up wrong. He is lining up how he prefers to line up. Yeah. And the broadcast can say whatever. You didn't listen to the broadcast because you were at the game, but the broadcast is like, I mean, this is a huge disadvantage for the defensive line. Again, not Jawan Taylor's problem.
Yeah, if
I think it looks like he's bordering on false starting sometimes. I really do. It makes me uncomfortable, but also I'll probably get used to it. And he wasn't cheating. He was following it inside the lines.
If it was illegal and someone was doing it every play, the Chiefs would have worked on that in the offseason. The Jags, by the way, would have worked on it years ago. And the league would have enforced it and called penalties. So it looks different, but Duke Manyweather, who does like the offensive line camp every offseason, all the NFL, like Creed Humphrey, Trace Ford, they all go to this, is very well known in the NFL world. He put out a video last January when people were claiming the same thing about Jawan Taylor, and he broke it down. The audio is way too long to play on the show, but
it is very good.
At Alex Gold on Twitter, at Cody B. Tap on Twitter as well if you want to find it. And his Twitter account is Big Duke 50, but it's an old tweet. You're not going to see it right away. And he explains that basically it's kind of like bending the rule, but like taking advantage of the gray area. He's not false starting. I'm not telling you Jawan Taylor will never have a false start. What I'm saying,
that he's never false starting, but for the most part,
what I'm saying is like the whole, every play he's false starting thing. No, he's not. No, he's not. It is how he plays. It's something that I guess the viewer will have to get used to in Kansas City. But he did this in Jacksonville. He's done it throughout his career. If it was actually against the rules, it would be something the Chiefs would have had to have an emphasis on and the Jags would have had an emphasis on. So it looks weird, but yeah, that's the notion that Chiefs just got away with it all night. That's just BS.
The one thing about the line that maybe is a little bit worrisome is Donovan Smith he allowed a game-high 15.6% pressure allowed rate when Mahomes dropped back to pass. So
56?
15.6.
Oh, 15.
Sorry.
I was like
50 would Mahomes would have been sacked.
That would have been
sacked
insane.
a couple times.
15 is also not great.
He allowed 7 pressures, 2 hits allowed.
They've got a talented defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson was a problem in that game. Yeah, I mean, he was a menace. So
next week they have Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, and then as the season goes, you're going to face really, some top tier pass rushers. So that could be something to maybe watch as we go along.
Yeah, it's weird that like Josh Allen. I guess he's not even the Jags team captain anymore. He'd been team captain for like 3 or 4 years, and they did not vote him team captain this year. So it's like, which is not a great look. You've been the captain for a couple years, and now
I was
you're
confused by that because even Kyler Murray is a captain for his team. Kyler Murray. He's not even going to play for this team for half a year.
Is there any team where the quarterback's not one of the captains, though? I feel like the quarterback has to be a captain. Like, you have to have that leadership element. I don't even know. I'm guessing there's not a single quarterback that's not a captain on their team.
Desmond Ridder, maybe?
Starting quarterback, I should say, obviously. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Desmond Ridder, you know my feelings on him. We'll get to that later.
Oh, I'm going to get to him in all 32.
In fact, you know what? Let's get
Let's
to all 32.
All
All 32 in the NFL. I'll let you start there because that leads us right into it.
I think Desmond Ridder should be getting some of this Kenny Pickett love. They both showed some promise at the end of last season and some ability at the end of last season. They both have some talent around them on the offensive end. I think Atlanta, they've obviously loaded up around the running game. I think they've got a plan of attack for him. I've picked him to win the division, so this shouldn't be surprising for you.
Right.
But I feel like everyone is just buried Desmond Ridder. He stinks, he will be no good, and he has no hope. But people are ready to crown Kenny Pickett the 6th best quarterback in the AFC tomorrow. It doesn't make any sense. Neither guy has proven enough to feel like either guy should be buried or be given the hype. I feel like they're just falling in love with Kenny Pickett more than Ridder for just no reason other than, I don't know, he plays for the Steelers, so you're familiar with
Some of it's the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, the head coach, is definitely a factor in this. I just think he's also looked better when he has played. You can, statistically, I just think Desmond Ridder, I think they're babying him. I think they're, really babying the hell out of Desmond Ridder because they don't trust him yet. Maybe they open it up more this year. I doubt it. They drafted Bijan Robinson for a reason. I think Kenny Pickett, they're like, no, the baby gloves are off. Like, they're ready. We're going to let you go. Deontay
9
Johnson.
touchdowns and 7 picks last year. We
can do a side bet here.
What's the bet?
Stats. Kenny Pickett, much better stats than Desmond Ridder this year.
So do we choose 5 categories and then whoever gets 3 of those categories? So yards, touchdowns, I even think interceptions. If you get less
completion
interceptions,
percentage.
That's a win. Completion percentage.
We can figure out what
I think 5 categories.
We can figure out the categories, yeah.
QBR?
Because I'll be honest, if somehow Kenny Pickett throws 30 touchdowns, but it has more picks than Desmond Ridder, then I don't give a shit.
That's why it's
All right, dump button. Dump button.
Well, I don't think you quite finished the word, but you were very close to finishing the word.
Yeah.
You at least hit 3 of those 4 letters is what I would say.
But I don't give a damn if he has 30 touchdowns and more picks.
But I think if one guy has 22 touchdowns, but has 7 interceptions, the other guy has 14, I still think you should get the point for the interceptions.
Okay.
There's a way that if they're 2 apart on the interceptions, it's even.
Someone says the baby gloves are off. It's funny. Is that a shot at Pickett's small hands?
I did not mean that, but that's true. That's true.
That was the whole thing coming out of the draft is he has little baby hands. They
Forgot
were too
about
small.
that. By the way, shout out to the Odyssey app listeners. You'll enjoy that here in a little bit. It doesn't work for you guys.
Yeah, or if you're on the video stream, I don't think the dump button works there either.
There you go. Enjoy. Enjoy.
Catch us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook if you'd like our faces and uncensored.
Yes.
I do think Atlanta's an intriguing team, though. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, they've got Algier, they got Bijan. It's all on the back of Desmond Ridder now in his development.
Arthur Smith is a head coach, so maybe that gives me a little bit of. But I think Ridder got a chance to be okay.
At least it's not Dennis Allen.
Again, I don't think
Dennis Allen. That's the worst coach.
I'm just so out on Desmond Ridder.
You're not interested at all.
I know you talked about this a little bit yesterday with Josh McDaniel. Just an update. I'll continue with this. The Raiders and how they're going to feel even better about how the Raiders are going to be, which is a terrible football team, a bottom 3 to 4 football team in the league this year. Chandler Jones, we know this saga this whole week, right? He's now not expected to play week 1 in their divisional game against the Denver Broncos. Chandler Jones was one of the better pass rushers, and he's not available. Who knows when he'll return? He did tweet out today, I think, that that he was feeling amazing and all this kind of stuff this morning. But Josh McDaniel said Chandler Jones still isn't with the team, won't play Sunday. And when you don't have him, I know you drafted very talented edge rusher out of Texas Tech, Wilson, but no Chandler Jones. I just don't. You can now key in on the young kid. And the Raiders are
What's the
so
spread on that
screwed,
game?
man. It was 3.5. I don't know what it is this morning. I haven't checked.
Nobody seemed like Chandler Jones was going to play. He did, however. I hope he follows through on his threat. Remember, he said, just as long as you let me play on Sunday, I won't tell everyone about all these other things that are going on. Look, we know the Raiders are a dysfunctional mess. That's not been a secret.
If I was Caleb Williams, I would rather play on the Cardinals than I would on the Raiders at this point.
Yeah. Broncos 3.5 point favorite. I think the Broncos are going to win against the Raiders, which will set up our season-long bet very nicely.
So going back a little bit to the Lions and this all talk shit, do we get a mulligan on our picks? I think I'm ready to take an L already. I'm not going to change my pick because I'm going to stand on my pick and go down with the ship if we go down. The Lions, I don't have making the playoffs because I think the Packers are going to. I picked the Packers to have more wins than the Jets. That's my hot take of the year. So I'm staying with it, all right? The Lions, hold up. This is the thing, though. I might change, though. The Lions win the division. The Vikings do not make the playoffs.
Okay. We're laughing, not about your take.
I know. I'm wondering what is going on here.
You missed it because it was so colloquial you didn't catch it.
You
You just said the S word.
Yeah.
And this is now, am I supposed to say, should I just say it now?
Yeah.
Should I just get it out of the way so all three of us in the same segment can say it?
2 minutes ago, I accidentally said it, and I dumped it.
We looked at each other like, wait, did he say it?
2 minutes ago, I accidentally said it, and I dumped it. And then 2 minutes later, you just said it, and I hit the dump button. I don't know if we had any dump left. It's a problem.
We know.
Text line did not comment when I said it because we dumped it.
We did.
Text line is commenting on yours.
Hard to say. Maybe they caught it on the stream.
We're getting loose on a Friday.
That's the first time I've legitimately ever done that.
Club
before.
610 hasn't even started yet, and we are getting
Okay, well, I
loose.
apologize to our boss in advance.
And I'm the biggest, I curse more than both of you, I assume, because I've got a bit of a potty mouth, but I feel like I'm kind of missing out. Can I say the ones I can say, just so I feel like I'm filling in?
Drew
I didn't even stop. I just kept going. I didn't even realize
you didn't catch it. It was
wow.
It was so casual. It was just like how you would slip it in and sent it at home. Woo. You didn't even hear it. You didn't even hear it when you were saying it, which is even more impressive.
My parents will be disappointed.
You put on a Cincinnati jersey. You're way too comfortable today. The Chiefs lost. You're in your world over there. Okay.
Okay. So do you? Sorry, I was laughing toward that. Do you want to redo on the Lions or no?
I'm not going to redo. Okay. The only redo I'm doing is the Vikings are not going to make the playoffs. The Lions will win the division. That's my swap.
Okay.
Packers still make it because I have to.
Okay.
I have to honor that.
So he's eliminating the Vikings. He wants to hold on to the Packers. He
and
would
look,
now like to be with
Gold's
me
face says,
as the Lions to win the NFC North.
Your face says I'm crazy. Albert Breer does not have the Vikings in the playoffs and has the Packers in. There's other people who have the same thing.
I know you're not alone. Yeah, I know you're definitely not alone on that. We are giving freebies now, 24 hours after doing our picks.
I gave you the same freebie.
I haven't used it, though, yet.
I picked the Packers.
No, this is an expiring freebie. You better get it in quick.
Why would I change after last night? I already had the Lions in the playoffs. And I have the Chiefs winning the West. And I have the Chiefs at a 12-win team. Which, by the way, I was called an absolute hater yesterday for saying 12 wins. Now, I thought the Chiefs were going to win last night. But it's funny. Today, when I'm saying, hey, relax, I'm being called like, oh, you're a homer. So which one is it? A hater yesterday for picking 12 wins, or today a homer for saying it's going to be okay?
Hater.
Hey, we can pick which side.
It's like Dave Pash was calling, I forget what game he was. He was calling the Duke and Clemson game. Both fan bases were going at him for being a homer, and it's like, I'm just doing my job. Like,
if both of you think I'm a homer, then I'm really doing something right.
Exactly.
But yeah. Nobody is allowed to say ship either on the show, because I think that's what might have caught you.
I'm taking the Packers. No, I did say ship. I said I'm going down with the ship.
Now, that was the second time. The first time was definitely not. You said the word ship. I'm going to be very careful here. We got to tread. How much time do we have?
P. Oh, we have 14 and a half seconds.
Okay, so it's built back up. You said ship after the first one. You said, ship. I know I've been talking. And then I think you got all 4 letters. I think Gold might have only gotten 3.
Someone says replay it. No, that's exactly what you can't do.
You can't do that.
It's probably, by the way, bad enough already that we're bringing this much attention to it. I'm sure the boss loves that.
But it was funny.
I'm taking the Packers to have more wins than the Jets, and I don't give a you-know-what.
There you go.
So I'm having the Lions swap with the Vikings.
So you're a big Buffalo fan.
Write it in.
Monday.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. That's all 32.
It's a Friday.
Sorry, guys.
Chiefs have lost. We're all getting loose.
Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. We haven't started drinking yet. We are going to begin drinking a little bit. Club 610 coming up on the other side, presented by Jay Rieger and Co. Don't worry, we'll keep talking Chiefs football throughout Club 610. And one thing that Aiden Hutchinson, dad calls his own kid, and we're confused by, we'll get to that next.
Chiefs fans, it's Creed Humphrey. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
BetMGM is offering football fans a chance at winning big. Enter our free-to-play BetMGM Football Survivor Pool Challenge, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Choose any football team to win each week in our Survivor Pool. Be the last player standing at the end of the season to win up to $100,000. Make sure to choose wisely. Once you've selected a team for the week, they can't be used again for the remainder of the season. Log into your account or sign up for BetMGM today to access the BetMGM Football Survivor Pool Challenge and make your picks. Level up your excitement this season with the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. BetMGM.com for T's and C's. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in Kansas to bet. New and existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Foley Rental is your locally owned equipment rental store for commercial, industrial, farm, and residential projects with a large fleet of aerial lifts, telehandlers, generators, trench shoring, and temperature control equipment, plus cat skid steers, excavators, loaders, and attachments, all inspected and maintained by over 500 certified technicians, so you stay safe and on schedule. Foley Rental, committed to you from the ground up. Call 855-RENT-FOLEY or visit FoleyRental.com.
Get ready for the upcoming NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday Ticket, fresh from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the perfect time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything for this upcoming NFL season. So visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code CDOT if you want to kick the NFL season off with an offer that you don't want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued. A non-withdrawable bonus pick that expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement. Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends September 18th of 2023. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket. Not on YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and a current form of payment. Commercials excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Are you ready for the biggest party of the year? Nickelback with a live show unlike any other. September 19th at T-Mobile Center. Nickelback, the Get Rollin' Tour with Brantley Gilbert and Josh Ross. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Get rollin'. Don't miss Nickelback.
This fall, they are coming back. You know where you are? For you. You're in the jungle, baby. Guns N' Roses, live. North America 2023. With special guest, Alice in Chains. Saturday, September 23rd, Kauffman Stadium. Tickets are on sale now at LiveNation.com. Finally, back in North America. Don't miss Guns N' Roses.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Want a new car at a used car price? I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. Right now, we have a surplus of new cars, so everything is seriously discounted.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV. Hurry in before we run out of 2023s.
Don't miss our surplus sale at the #1 Volkswagen dealer in the Midwest. Visit VWLeaseSummit.com.
Based on 2022 VW retail reports, financing through VCI OAC. Call 816-841-7383 for details.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated.
Industrial plant safety doesn't happen by accident. See what I did there? Keller Fire and Safety keeps plants safe. They specialize in protecting facilities that are unique with special hazard handling and safety systems. Keller's state-of-the-art fire protection, intercom, and access systems for industrial and processing plants keep workers safe and plants producing. Call Keller because plant safety never gets old, but those who practice it do. Keller Fire.
Care provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, this is Dana Muse. Tune in every Thursday at 11 o'clock when I join Cody and Gold on your official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, you know it's a Friday. Friday, 1 o'clock, Club 610 here on Cody and Gold, presented by Jay Rieger & Co. I think people need a couple drinks after last night's game. We got C-Dot in studio as well. He wants a little pre-game drink before his show gets going at 2 o'clock. Yeah, I'm sure you got nothing to talk about right at 2 or anything.
I'm
like
here
that.
just because Cody asked me to come.
You want some drink?
He texted me at 7:12 in the morning. Hey, do you want a drink? Why are you thinking about alcohol so early on in the morning? It was a sign of a problem. And then I was like, all right, cool. I'm happy to do it. I'll be here.
So you're not a subscriber to the it's 5 o'clock somewhere mentality, huh? Jimmy Buffett dies and you still won't respect the idea of drinking at 7 in the morning?
Not when you're at home. Now, if we were on vacation, let's say you were in Vegas, you woke up at an all-inclusive, yeah, maybe you can think about it. You're telling
Vegas
me
is different.
You just woke up in Olathe and you were thinking about Jay Rieger at 7 o'clock in the morning. There's a problem. There's something going on.
I mean, I think plenty of people were enjoying some Jay Rieger yesterday in the parking lot, tailgating. It was a very liquored up crowd, I'll be honest, being out there at Arrowhead. We've got Andrew Olson from Jay Rieger and Company in studio with us. We got a real bartender in studio.
A real bartender? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, man, this time you don't have to make us drinks. Andrew's going to hook us up today. Thanks for coming in studio, man. You were at the game last night. That was rough. That was a little rough, man.
It was brutal. But like you said, lots of Jay Rieger being drank, so I think it might have cured some ailments or at least got you to forget about them.
Yeah, people might be doing that tonight. If not,
everyone felt like they were in a good mood. Gold said it was a heavy drinking crowd at the game last night.
Yeah, it seemed pretty lively. I mean, people were there ready to raise the banner and all that kind of stuff, but hey, we're not undefeated, that's for sure.
We are not. We are not undefeated. That's definitely the case. All right, so you've brought in a wide variety of liqueur. And what do we got today? What are you making us here?
Yeah, so this is a cocktail called the Monochromatic, a cocktail that we used to serve in the Monogram Lounge at the distillery itself. But this is going to be using two of our Rieger products, our Bottled and Bond Rye Whiskey, so 100 proof rye whiskey, 6-year-old, real good stuff, and our bittersweet coffee liqueur, our Cafe Amaro. And it's kind of a blend of like a black Manhattan meets an old-fashioned style drink, a stiff drink after everything we witnessed yesterday.
You know, I kind of like that. Heading into fall, too, right? We got to move off of the... do you guys head early like the beer companies? Like where I'm getting Oktoberfest now? Do we just shift into fall cocktails now, or what's the deal?
I mean, yeah, really, the last day of summer is not going to be in for another week or so, but... Kansas City, the weather is never predictable, so I'm sure it'll be 95 until December 2nd.
That KC ice water you guys have, I'll drink that whenever. That's one of my favorite drinks you guys got over there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And even this drink, this is going to be one of those things that's got lots of baking spice and that sort of stuff. It is obviously booze forward, but we're going to hit it with a little bit of dry curacao, so really bright orange flavors. So kind of getting the best of both worlds come late summer, early fall.
I'm forward to it.
Yeah.
See that? You feeling good? See, you feel better now? You get the full list of the cocktails?
He said 100 proof whiskey and it was coffee. I still got to work later, but I'm happy to partake.
All right, so we'll let
it's not good when they already hand you a water bottle. That's when you know things might get active.
All right, so we'll let Andrew start making us some drinks here, Lou. We can talk some Chiefs. We'll talk with Andrew about the Chiefs, and obviously we'll try out this cocktail here in a little bit against Club 610. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, C-Dot's in with us. We got our producer, Drew Nixon. We got Andrew Olson from Rieger with us. C-Dot, I know we were all on the round table a little bit earlier on today, but I know we're not surprised by the reaction. It's one game, but from a national narrative with this game, people are talking, it's a dynasty over. Are the Detroit Lions a Super Bowl contender now? What's real, what's fake to you after one game?
I mean, I am a little bit surprised by the reaction to this.
Really?
I mean, you cheer for Kansas basketball. If KU basketball loses the game, we're not saying that we're firing Bill Self or that it's over.
You know how fans are, and the national narrative was always going to be, oh man, this is it for the Chiefs, especially with how they looked
offensively. Into the dynasty, man, not just into the season. We're done. We're closing up shop.
Yeah, I think that's an overreaction. I mean,
sure.
I mean, I actually think it's probably a little bit more about the Lions. Like, I think all of us in some ways have kind of discredited the Lions over the last 6 months or so. I mean, they've won 9 of their last 11 games. Like, maybe the Lions are good. Like, I don't know why people maybe aren't more willing to entertain that conversation about the Detroit Lions, given everything that we saw.
I think it's hard when you're a laughingstock franchise.
No, agreed.
Yeah, I think they're good. I haven't in the postseason. It's not like I didn't. I just think last night I didn't come away thinking, man, they're a juggernaut. Look out, Philadelphia. They didn't look dominant.
No, I certainly didn't look at them as a juggernaut. But I guess to Cody's point about them being a laughingstock franchise, I don't think any of us considered the Lions a juggernaut. Like, this wasn't a game that, even with all the injuries, even with the holdout, that people really entertained the possibility that the Lions were going to win that football game. To go on the road, go into that environment and leave with the win. We got to give the Lions a little bit of credit. Sure, the Chiefs did things to lose. That's normally how teams lose. Right. You turn the football over. You make mistakes. You do those things. That's ultimately how you end up getting outscored by the opponents. I think the Lions played well enough yesterday.
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, Dan Campbell, they should be feeling great today, backing it up. They go on the road. They also get 10 days themselves. We talk about the Chiefs getting 10 days to get ready. They get a chance to fix some things. I think they're going to end up using Jahmyr Gibbs a lot more than what we saw last night.
I would certainly hope so. I mean, I saw a team that used the 12th overall pick for Jerick McKinnon yesterday. Yeah. That's what I saw. I was very surprised.
They were worried about his mental health after that Nick Bolton hit.
That was
the hardest hit of the entire game.
Oh, he was nose forward the whole time. The whole time. He was leading with his head.
We were talking about the defense. Defense was fine. That wasn't the issue last night, guys, whatsoever. Look, they're better with Chris Jones, duh. But that wasn't the problem. That wasn't a, man, got to go get Chris whatever the heck he wants game after last night.
I actually think the conversation really is about how good can Aiden Hutchinson be. Like, I thought Aiden Hutchinson was a star yesterday. Like, I kind of had my questions about him coming out of Michigan. Like, I never saw the it that everybody said, like, undeniable, he could be a first pick. He looked like it yesterday. I mean, the Chiefs clearly had to know where he was on the field at all times, and they had to adjust to how dominant he was. It really goes to show you sometimes how we overrate sacks. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson did not register a sack in the game. You cannot deny the impact that he had over the full 60 minutes.
The only other guy defensively that I thought stood out to me on either side of the team was Trent McDuffie. I still argue that he can be an all-pro player in a league that doesn't have that many star corners right now. Trent McDuffie was forcing turnovers. Trent McDuffie was all over every man. He was making every tackle. He's a short tackler and he's a cover corner. I mean, I don't know what more you want out of him except for the turnovers. And it wasn't a pick. It's always the same thing. People are always counting interceptions. It wasn't an interception, but it didn't matter. What you got out of him instead was the fumble. It was perfect.
I just want look how quick this was, like perfection. How quickly we got some cocktails. He's perfect.
Dude, he keeps saying this. Like, Alex likes to just say this to make me feel bad about my bartending ability.
I mean, this was Andrew. How quick?
I'm also hosting a show sometimes while I'm making these drinks. Not all that easy.
Fair. I mean,
although he did offer some commentary on Nick Bolton in the middle of it.
I'm gonna wait till everybody has theirs before I take a sip or whatever. But
not me.
Pour me half of what you poured them. Just
really?
give me half of
Are you serious?
Half?
All right, fine. Cody already had a sip. I guess I'll get a sip.
You get off in the 45 minutes. I get off in 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Ooh, this is fantastic.
Let me just get half of what you got.
I can take because I like old fashions, and that's like it's more than that, obviously, but that's my favorite part of this drink because I'm a big fan of the old fashioned. What do you think, Cody?
It's good. I don't know if I've had this one at the bar yet or not. Like, I think Carrington's work because he said coffee. Once you put coffee liqueur mixed into a million other parts of the cocktail, That's not what you're going to get.
We were doing a taste testing with Andrew, actually, probably a couple months ago, and we were going through, and I told him, I was like, I don't like coffee at all. And he's like, here, try this. And I don't remember what you added to it.
It's the Cafe Maron tonic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
He using
I
big words over
I don't
there.
like,
He's
I
using
don't like
big
coffee,
words.
but I'm also not a huge gent. And you don't taste it whatsoever. It was just so smooth, and I don't taste the coffee much at all in this.
Hey, we all played a little bit of sports. I want to ask you something about Aiden Hutchinson. You mentioned the game.
Yeah.
Is it okay for his dad to call him Hutch? That's his dad.
Yeah.
His dad's going to call him by his first name.
Unless your dad's the
too.
coach, it's weird. Unless your
I
dad's
think
the
it's
coach.
a little weird to call your kid by their last name. That's your last name.
Okay, I mean, I get
Right?
what
It'd be
you're
like Gold calling his kid, like, come here, Gold. Come over, little Goldie. It doesn't make any sense. You got to call your kid by the first name. Maybe you're the only person. Maybe if everyone else calls you by your last name, okay. But I think as the dad, you got to stick to the first name.
Yeah, but I mean, in this sense, I guess, like, where's the, like, line? Like, I'm assuming that Tiger Woods' parents, like, do they call him Eldrick or do they call him Tiger? Like, it's weird
But that's
to call
his
your
first
kid.
name, though.
Yeah, I'm saying, but which one? Are you calling your kid by his nickname? Like, in that?
I mean,
that's
his
what
parents call him Alex. His name's Alexander. Or I assume they do.
Yeah, but a lot of people have full names like that. That's not that uncommon.
His name ain't Scooter, though. It'd be one thing if his parents like, hey, Scooter, come here.
I wonder if I don't know if his dad has a coaching background, but if you were the coach of your kid's football team and you're calling all the kids by their last name, I could see you saying, hey, Tap, come over here, even though your last name's Tap. I don't know. That was funny, though. They mic'd up his parents on the road, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, that was
much better seats than Jordan Love's parents got.
100%. I mean, it sounds to me like the Hutchinson family just paid for those
I think
tickets.
so.
Like, kind of where they put them. But also, I think they knew they were going to be on television. So
They
yeah,
watched
they set
Jordan
them up.
Love's parents' seats once, and they're like, I better
You're
go
not
pop.
doing that to me. You're not putting me up in
Someone
that.
says that
I
you would
better
know
go
this.
pop for my own.
Someone said this because you've had Rex Hudler on your show plenty of times in the past, and someone says Hud's wife calls him Hud. So
yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think
it'd be weird if you got married and she called you Gold all the time. The vibe would be weird.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
I don't care how many people call you that.
Is it as weird as Brittany calling Patrick Bro?
That went through me too, but I feel like that just might be an age
that's
thing,
their
and I should just
relationship.
accept that I'm older
That's
than
just their relationship.
Patrick and Brittany, and I should just accept that that's different based on the age stuff, right?
All right, so we all have our cocktails here from Jay Reed.
Did you get yourself one, I hope?
Oh,
Okay, there we go.
Real
Andrew.
quick before we continue to drink this a little bit, a lot of people are watching on the video, Andrew, and they said, "Are you and Cody brothers?" They
If we stood next to each other.
This is stereotyping just based on people who wear glasses. Two people can wear glasses and not look the same.
Yeah, I
We
think if
both
we stood
have
next
hair
to each
and
other,
wear
that would
glasses.
be the. Yeah, if we stood next to each other, I think that would be the big tell. I'm 6'5".
Damn, he's going to short shame me too. I was just trying to say that.
That was a lot of shade. I didn't want to say anything. I was going to leave it be. I'm just happy to be at the table in the club. You know what I mean? I just got invited here. I didn't pay to be at the table. I was minding my business. He definitely called you short, though, on your show.
On my show.
On your
At least
show.
he made me a
called you
drink
short.
before we did it.
Now,
So-
a drink like this, how if someone's looking, they're having to get together this weekend, or they've got an event. How easy is something like this to make? For obviously, they can go to their local liquor store and pick up some of these.
Yeah, absolutely. All of these ingredients are available at most large liquor stores around town, especially even ones that are a little bit more boutique. And the sugar I used is literally 2 parts Demerara sugar to 1 part water.
By the way, this is a great reminder. They do have a partnership with the Chiefs, so they have a World Champions vodka bottle. Good reminder after the loss. World Champs is a pretty good thing to have on a bottle of liquor, and a good reminder of where the Chiefs just generally are. They did they were Super Bowl champs last year, so we don't have to all panic after one game.
Yeah, that's why I'm not overly concerned after game one. Now, if they lose to Jacksonville, sure, we can have a real serious conversation. Like I looked it up today. If you start 1-1, you have a 45% chance of making the postseason. If you start 0-2, you have an 11% chance of making the postseason. If they lose next week, we got to have some real serious questions about, are they winning this division? How good is this Chiefs team? I'm not doing that to one loss against an NFC team.
Yeah, I'm with you. The division, to me, missing the playoffs, even if they start 0-2, I think that's still premature. I know you just gave me the numbers. Division, though, becomes a real problem, and seeding becomes a real problem. You all of a sudden have a head-to-head loss to a team like Jacksonville, who could be the number 1 seed. But also, they didn't have Travis Kelce or Chris Jones in this game last night. Take away this weekend, whoever everybody else is going to play, other than their quarterback, take away any of their next 2 best players on any contender. The Bills, who are going to go on against the Jets. All of a sudden, if the Bills did not have Stephon Diggs and didn't have, well, they don't have Von Miller already, but take away another player, like, how would you feel about the Bills' chances? I just think we have to put last night in perspective in that regard, at least.
that all comes down to how much you respect the Lions. If you think they're a joke, nobody's going to care who you're missing. If you think they're a good, viable NFC team who's someone in the top 4 of the NFC teams, then fine. I picked them to win the division. I respect the Lions. Chiefs, without the top 2 players, you can lose to a team like the Lions. Especially when you don't even play that good of a game.
Well, and look at the second half of the Lions season last year. Top 5 defense going into the last 8 games, and their offense was operating on another level.
Dan Campbell, he's got a little something going there. That team's got talent.
He's a Coach of the Year favorite. I think he was 10-1 before last night. I haven't checked this morning. I'm guessing the odds have gotten better for him to be Coach of the Year just because that was a national stage game, and of course they came into Arrowhead.
They just didn't seem overwhelmed. I think that's a really important thing. Like, we've seen teams go into Arrowhead, go into that environment, and really seem overwhelmed by what's going on. You never really got that sense from the Lions, especially after that fake punt. Like, I thought they were kind of nervous coming into it. That fake punt really settled them down, and that was a drive that they scored on.
By the way, do we think that when this all shakes out, do you think the Lions will actually win the division?
I do.
Did you have them before?
I did. I'm not a believer in Minnesota. I mean, they won 13 games last year, had a negative point differential. That's just really difficult to do.
It is.
I'm not sold on Jordan Love. I think the Bears are going to be much improved. I don't know if the Bears are going to win double-digit games. I think that's what you have to do to win the division. So, sort of process of elimination. I'll take the Lions.
Did we all lose money on betting Chiefs props last night?
Yeah, I don't know many people that made money, man.
Sky Moore, that number was no good. The over was
Tony
bad.
and Moore.
We were way too confident betting going into that game. That went poor.
I had a very good night yesterday.
Did you?
Betting the game.
What'd you bet on?
Yeah, what were your bets?
I had a $100 free play. I hit on a plus 650. I
hit. What was it?
I had Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jahmyr Gibbs over on rushing yards, and David Montgomery touchdown.
Wow,
nice. Good for you.
Drew and I hit a first touchdown bet, 50 to win 575 on Amon-Ra St. Brown. We went in together. That was about that was
good day.
That was all the other bets I lost.
Get a hold of this though. See that? So we do our show bet. We all did like a show bet yesterday, and we put money on like Gibbs to get the first touchdown. He slipped. Otherwise, I think he would have got it. And then I told them about a promo at a certain sports book to get a free jersey.
So
I tell them the promo. They both went in together and did the Amon-Ra St. Brown bet. They cut me out. They cut me out.
Wow.
Oh, my Drew and I signed up for the app. I was the only one who had signed up for the app that had the jersey promo. So Drew wanted the jersey. I didn't need a jersey. I'm like, I got you. I'll help you out. You're my guy, right? New producer, I'll help you out. I'll sign up for the app. You can get the jersey. And he's like, hey, because you did that, let's take this bet we have to make and let's put it on something fun. So then we were in it together because of that. We were trying to cut Alex out.
I mean, you can still now cut him in, give him a portion of how much you won.
We both agreed to put some money into our show fund. We have a debit card with money in it that we do for stuff like this.
We have a show bank account.
We have a show bank account.
All right, you guys got an LLC.
No, I told Cody.
We have a show bank account.
He's dealing with the tax ramifications. It's under his name, not my name. It's under his name. You can worry about paying that $500. You can pay taxes on that.
This is how we do all this stuff we're not supposed to do in this world, right? All this stuff that we're not supposed to do on the show. You'd be like, hey, you need corporate's opinion on that. I'm like, no, we don't. We just got this old little bank account on the side, just doing things that are shady. Just let us live our lives. They're better. We're all better for it, right?
It's true.
Do you break rules at your company? You work at Rieger? You
Not
break any rules
once.
over there? Not a single one?
They're federally enforced.
True. That's very true. Now, were you
Slightly different vibe. That's fair.
You were at the game. What did you make of like the pregame? Everybody's in there. I mean, the energy pregame was as good as you'll get because everybody wanted to get in their seats quick to watch the banner and everything.
Oh yeah. Well, there were cars parked there yesterday morning. I heard that, and then I know that I left Parkville at 3:00 to get to the stadium and get to my parking spot so that I could get into the stadium, and it was packed when I got there. But it was mostly Lions fans when the gates opened.
I was surprised how many Lions fans made it out to the game. I'll give them credit for that. You could certainly hear them towards the end of the game when they really sense that they're going to win. But
yeah, that and I mean that was one of the things about the Lions players. They were embracing the Arrowhead heat. They were welcoming it as much as possible, and it was like, oh man, I don't know what we're giving them here, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, to Carrington's point, it's kind of weird. We were talking Colorado on college football, how they looked composed. Colorado did last week, right, against TCU, and like the moment wasn't phasing them. They were operating well. Same thing with the Lions last. I know it's a pro team versus college team, but still, like you said, Cita. I mean, they didn't have bad penalties right out of the gate. They weren't flustered. I thought, we were talking about the game, and I always thought the Chiefs would win, but could the Lions weather the first quarter storm? And they obviously did.
I'm not surprised that the Lions traveled really well. Like, think about it like in a college. You make the college analogy. Think if
if Boston College was ranked preseason number 9.
Right.
You know how big of a deal it would be for Boston College fans? Like, I'd be going to all the road games too. And you're telling me week 1 you play on the road against Alabama? Yeah, Boston College fans are traveling for that game. You have to think about it. None of us have ever seen the Lions be good. Not one time. They're a joke. We don't care about them at Thanksgiving. We've been arguing to get them off Thanksgiving for our entire life.
They finally made it interesting again.
And now you're telling me that you think the Lions are going to win their division, which they've never done since they went to this new divisional format. You're telling me the Lions have a chance to be taken seriously? Yeah, Lions fans are making that short 8-hour drive.
See that before we know that maybe you're only here for a half hour because you got to do some other show stuff. Andrew's sticking around till 2. Do you operate the same way as Alex Gold, as in you pretty much just don't date during football season?
Here we go.
Like 5 months. Why would I do that?
Well, Alex has a firm policy of he's very busy during football season.
They have days in which they don't play football.
I don't get on the apps during football season.
I'm just saying they have days they don't play football. Like on Tuesday, what am I? I'm just so fired up about Thursday's game. Like, what is happening?
Did you miss a Thursday night football game for a day too? Most of those are
Monday night. We got Monday night football.
Is he playing in the games? I don't understand.
We got Monday night football. Tuesdays, you're right. Tuesday night could work. Wednesday night I do a betting show. Thursday night football. Saturday morning I've got an early betting show that I do as well. So yeah, there's only so many days during the week, Carrington. Only so many.
I think you just got to burn that midnight oil.
If it's on the that's on the apps.
You can't just watch football with the young lady. I mean,
so that's on the apps. Now, if there's the right person and I happen to meet them, they want to go. We're going to go on a date. Then that's fine. But as far as like actively swiping right, no, not as much right now.
Okay.
The app is on my phone. I still have an active profile, but I'm not actively swiping.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
Andrew looks fascinated.
I wasn't going to say, I
well,
guess
I was so
did.
confused at what you guys were talking about at first. I was like,
Alex is single.
Got it.
Yeah.
I just got
you
married.
got a wedding ring
this week.
Okay. Wait,
really?
this week?
Whoa.
1 week today.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Lots has happened since
Out of
I
town?
started.
In town.
Yeah, I got married about 2 hours north of Washington, or in Seattle, about 2 hours north of Seattle.
Okay.
Wait, so
Now,
just
how long were you guys
What a
dating?
life. You're just an interesting human being. Like,
Almost 7 years.
7 years. Congrats.
He's like the
That's
way
awesome.
cooler version of me.
you still waiting.
You say we were brothers, so he's like, he's tall, he's got tattoos.
I was just thinking they
he
maybe
works
got
in a
married
cooler
prematurely.
place. You were going to say he got married prematurely?
I mean, 7 years. You clearly didn't make her wait long enough. You
yeah.
could have made her wait about 4 or 5 more years.
Even that part, we waited 10 years before we got married. There's even some similarities here.
That's because that's your brother.
I'm dying Andrew Olsen. I'm like the
Cody
worst version.
Olsen. The Olsen
Aldi
twins.
brand Cody.
I'm Wish. You get me on Wish when you're trying to get Andrew under the normal circumstances.
This is
Kirkland Cody over there.
This is Club 610 on Cody and Gold. It's presented by Jay Rieger and Company. We got Andrew Olsen from Rieger joining us here. Now I'm curious because we were just talking about the dating app. So how, if you don't mind asking, how did you guys meet?
Through work stuff. She was working downtown and had actually worked adjacently downtown for a while, and then I was working at Blue Stem in Westport.
Okay.
And she had actually reached out to hire me for a event that was whiskey related. And
So you started dating your boss.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, well, I wasn't I was working.
I got you.
Yeah, but we started dating like right immediately. It was perfect, and so yeah, been around for a long time.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, see, look, maybe you could just find somebody at work. There's a lot of girls in the sports
I'm
radio.
pretty sure. Yeah, I'm sure our boss or HR loves hearing that right now. I'm sure.
I don't got nothing to do with that.
We always let Carrington off the hook on these dating conversations. By the way,
I haven't seen nothing. I haven't heard. I'm not in it. I don't know.
He said he's
anything
staying on the apps at least. He's at least,
I'm not on any of the apps. I'm just wondering on a Tuesday why.
Are you in a relationship right now?
No, but I'm not. Oh. I'm not opposed to dating someone on a Wednesday. I'm not doing anything. What am I doing on Wednesday? I'm just at home watching HBO Max.
Hey, boundaries are important. Gold. It's all good. It's all good.
And I mean, you make it seem like your interest is some small niche thing. Football's the most popular thing in our country. I'm not gonna guess that you could find a young lady that also wants to watch Saturday Texas Alabama,
or at least would if they wanted to hang out with you.
But I've always said everybody assumes because I can't. I mean, every damn week, whether it's my parents or Cody or anybody else, I get asked about like, oh, so you dating? It's the most annoying question I get every week. By the way, it drives me crazy. Anybody that asks constantly about my relationships or whatever. But I don't need someone that's like a diehard sports fan. I mean, if they hate sports, and that's the problem.
It's gonna be tough. I agree.
But I don't. You don't have to be like, man, I'm watching every game. I don't. In fact, I kind of probably don't want that. As a matter of fact, I don't want you obsessed with sports because that's my job as well, and then that's probably too much.
Is your now wife obsessed with like whiskey? Because maybe that would it's like taking work home.
She drinks whiskey, not regularly, but she will have it. But I mean, she was at the game last night.
Okay.
Screaming her face off as a diehard sports fan would. So
See?
Love it.
They do exist.
It's not a unicorn.
I tried to tone it down. I was in our suite Carrington last night, as you know.
I know.
And I tried to tone it down. I was, normally I am. Cody knows. He's been with me.
You should have brought somebody to the game.
I only had one ticket. Yeah. Otherwise, that would have been a smart,
We tried
smooth
really
move there.
hard to secure a couple of Taylor Swift tickets from the company.
Yeah, we were going
to just line people up in the parking lot.
You think that Alex is high enough up the ladder?
No, I think Taylor Swift.
No, I'm asking. Do you think Alex is high enough to ask the boss for Taylor Swift tickets?
I think they would have given them to us if we had thought of the idea sooner.
Cody
if we had come to them sooner, I think we could have gotten them, and I think that there would have been great demand.
Why don't you ask for Beyonce?
We thought about it.
It's on
the
Sunday
same night
Night
as the
Football.
Jets-Chiefs watch party we're doing with Vinny over at Hollywood Casino.
I mean, the Chiefs play 17 times this year. You only get one chance to see Beyonce.
I know, but we got a cool event with Vinny planned on October 1st.
You do have the watch party,
Vinny already told me that he secured a signed jersey from Cole Reagan's future Cy Young winner.
Nice.
So, I mean, what are you gonna
Future
do?
Cy Young winner. I like that. I do like that.
Real
What are you
quick-
gonna do?
Real quick, and we'll break in. Did you notice, Andrew? So our producer Drew, he's from Indy, but he's a lifelong Bengals fan. Have you noticed the day after the Chiefs lose their season opener, he's wearing not Joe Burrow, an AJ Green, an AJ Green jersey today.
Yeah.
Unreal.
His boy got the bag yesterday.
He did. How about that Joe Burrow contract?
Whoa.
It's good news though for the Chiefs, I still think, because they're gonna have to start paying. They're gonna have to pay Burrow and Chase, and then that 3 years the numbers are going to kick up on them. We know Brett Veach can assemble a championship roster with Mahomes making $40+ million, $50 million cap hit eventually. I don't know if Cincinnati can do that yet.
I mean, I think we're
They
at the
also
point
haven't
now
won with
where
him on a rookie
almost every good quarterback has gotten paid. So, at one point that might have been an advantage for the Chiefs. I mean, Buffalo's paid their quarterback, Baltimore's paid their quarterback, Jacksonville's going to pay their quarterback next year. Like at this point, I mean, there's like 15.
Right, but none of them,
Great
none of
news.
them
If
have
10
won.
of the quarterbacks in the AFC are paid, and you have Mahomes, you have the decided advantage.
Of course. I mean, I would say you had that whether Mahomes was on his rookie contract. Now he's just better than all the other quarterbacks in the NFL.
49ers are a prime example. Bosa just got paid.
Yeah, they're able to pay those guys.
Brock's not getting paid.
Exactly. They're able to pay those guys because Purdy's making like $100,000 or $700,000 or whatever it is this year.
What I actually thought was so funny is the NFL, they're fighting so hard against guaranteed contracts because of what happened with Deshaun Watson, but yet all the quarterbacks are going to get guaranteed basically what Deshaun Watson got. Deshaun Watson
Although
got
Burrow's
$250.
$11 million less.
I mean, Burrow got, what, $215 guaranteed? We're getting very, very close to the Deshaun Watson territory.
Mahomes
but it wasn't fully guaranteed.
But
Well,
still,
they'll pay him
it's
every cent of that $275. They don't care.
It's $11 million less, I think, than what what Deshaun Watson got. All right, it's Club 610 here on Cody and Gold. Coming up next, though, we will talk about the backfield a little bit. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got first-team reps, basically. Was a starting running back, I think, last night. What the heck's going on there? We'll talk about it more here on Club 610.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
You talk on the radio. Yeah. You're a fanboy.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Luke Combs here, and I have an exclusive opportunity for you to win $500,000 with the Living Lucky with Luke Combs Lottery Experience. Join me in Nashville for a private concert at the iconic Ryman Auditorium. One lucky winner will win $500,000 at the end of the show. Y'all feeling lucky? Enter today.
Enter your Living Lucky with Luke Combs Scratchers tickets at MoLottery.com for a chance to win a private concert experience and a chance at $500,000. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and play responsibly.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Don't wait to shop Labor Day savings at Lowe's. For a limited time, buy one, get one 50% off on select interior and exterior paints and exterior stains via Lowe's gift card rebate. And the savings don't stop there. Take the kitchen outdoors with grills starting at just $65. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 9/6. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. While supplies last.
Playing football is hard. Watching football shouldn't be. Tired of low-quality snacks and grainy TVs? For a perfect football viewing experience, visit Bogey's Windy City Pubs. Enjoy mouth-watering sandwiches, dogs, soups, and more. South Leawood, BogiesWindyCityPub.com.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Home is where the heart is. At Anthony, 70-plus years of trust. Safe, reliable, local. Your home, our commitment. Schedule online today at anthonyphce.com.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my 5 steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. As a small business owner, I know that filing for the ERC tax refund can feel complicated and confusing. Also, I like pizza and puppies. There, done. Step 2, cold hard info. The ERC, or Employee Retention Credit for long, is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refund's network of independent tax attorneys could help you claim it. Step 3, call to action. Go to innovationrefunds.com to get started. Step 4, the jingle I wrote myself. Actually, scratch that. Just go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS and go to Step 5. Legal stuff.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, get up to $1,500 off select major kitchen appliances. And save 10% when you buy select James Hardie plank siding in bulk. Visit us today in-store or online for more deals you can't beat. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Offer valid 8/24 through 9/13. Exclusions apply while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details. Selection varies by location. Discount taken at time of purchase.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Staples has big savings on everything for school or the office. Save on school essentials like notebooks, pens, and crayons. In stock and backed by Staples Price Match Guarantee. Save on signs, banners, and posters from Staples Print and Marketing Services. And now save even more with $10 off document printing when you spend $40 or more. Get everything for the office and classroom for less at Staples. Ends 9/30. Exclusions and restrictions apply. See associate or visit staples.com/print for details. Price Match Guarantee and store only. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Stop by any Arvest branch to find out why banking with Arvest and the Arvest Go mobile app makes life easier. Arvest Bank, proud to be here game day. Let's do this.
Hanging out on a Friday, it's Club 610 on Cody and Gold, presented by Jay Rieger & Co. Alex Gold, Cody Tapter, Nixon with you. Andrew Olson from Rieger with us, making us some good cocktails today. Tell us once again what we got. I'm almost finished with this one over here.
Yeah, this is the monochromatic. So this is a kind of Manhattan, black Manhattan, old-fashioned variation using Rieger's Bottled and Bond Rye, Cafe Amaro, dry Curacao, Pedro Jimenez Sherry, a little sugar and bitters. Stir it up, garnish with a little lemon.
I like when I get to just come in here. This is the first time we've done a Club 610 where I didn't have to make the drink.
True.
Normally what happens is we start the segment and I'm still like openly making a cocktail in the middle of it.
I'm ready.
We need a couple of minutes.
We'll just start booking for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
at least like once a month would be nice. I kind of like the idea of being able to do this. That's what I was. Just a quick reminder: we're talking about the cocktail, but you guys you are the official vodka of the Chiefs, right?
Correct. Yeah, we are the hometown distillery of Kansas City and the official vodka of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hell yeah!
Like a world champion. Have you seen the bottle?
I've seen the
it
bottle.
Feels right up your range.
I think you guys also did I'm a KU grad, so I think you guys also have a KU whiskey, right?
We've got KU vodka. We got the Wave the Wheat vodka, and then we've got those Electric Park canned cocktails right now.
We've brought those in.
We actually did those at training camp a couple of times.
Last week or 2 weeks ago.
Because I filled up mason jars to bring cocktails up because we're like, well, we're still doing Club 610. I don't care if we're up at camp or not. I was like, I can't keep bringing mason jars up full of booze through security every day. Maybe we can just get some canned cocktails and go that
perfect. By the pool, by the lake. Absolutely. Those are fantastic. I want to talk some more Chiefs football, though, a little bit because I was stunned. I don't know. You were at the game, Andrew, as well. First 2 touches by a running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's third on the depth chart.
You walked in just borderline mad about it.
Well, yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to use Clyde like a starter unless they're just protecting Pacheco because he was hurt for part of training camp.
I think that's what it is. That's the only thing that makes sense is, hey, he tore his labrum before the Super Bowl, had surgery, had the yellow non-contact jersey on throughout camp. They finally took it off. Maybe they're easing him into the season. And look, Clyde as a third back is a great asset, right? He's he's had experience. Most teams would like to have that as their third back. He happens to be a $3 million third string running back, though.
Yeah.
But Pacheco, to me, and McKinnon should be getting way more touches than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I was stunned that right out of the gate, if you didn't know anything about the Chiefs, you would have said, oh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the starting running back for this team.
Yeah, Pacheco, he's the angriest running back in the league, I think.
Yeah.
The way he runs. But I don't know how early on it was that something happened.
He did get a little banged up.
A little banged up.
Yeah,
and
but
then
they
he
called
just
it like cramps or whatever.
Oh, was that? I was at the game. I didn't know what the TV was saying.
On the broadcast, they called it cramps the same as Birch. Like maybe the issue was in the end, it wasn't even like a real hip injury. He was just feeling tight.
Hey.
But I assume it's just the injury. I'm gonna give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt on this one. for like a couple of weeks. But if we're like in week 4 and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is getting the first 3 touches of the game, be like, okay. So I guess you've decided Clyde is the starting running back again, and you don't want to admit it, that these two guys are in a full-blown real timeshare, and Jerick McKinnon comes in, like they share drives, and then Jerick McKinnon just comes in on 3rd down, which is fine, I guess. It just feels like Pacheco's deserved the chance to fail before we go back to Clyde. I don't know.
Other than drop city from Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore last night, the short yardage situation, I mean, that is also part of the running back conversation. This is not a 1-year or 2-year issue. They have really struggled on whether it's 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Andy, I think it's play calling arrogance, frankly. But basically, a lot of teams will just do a QB sneak. They won't do it because Mahomes had the knee issue against the Broncos a couple years ago. The Eagles have perfected the tush push, basically, right? They push Jalen Hurts forward. The Blake Bell package has to go. Nobody's confused
You're just done with it?
Nobody's confused by it.
I guess you were hoping they were going to go down to 3 tight ends and then you wouldn't have to have Blake Bell still in the roster and think about it.
They have, I believe, truly a really, really good, strong offensive line. But when it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, they won't just hand the ball off. Old school halfback dive. To your point, Andrew, Pacheco, he's the guy that's usually looking for contact, going to run you over and 100% energy, and yet they're not willing to do that. Instead, they want to run a jet sweep or something else.
Well, and we saw it yesterday is with Patrick Mahomes. He literally strapped in, put it on his back, and the guy was doing everything he could because he was running out of options. And that's scary. That's not what I think any Chiefs fan wants to see on a regular basis.
Someone says they don't practice them. No, they do practice. Like 903. I just think they don't practice them. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm sure short yardage situations.
I don't think you're bad at anything for 4 years and you got a future Hall of Fame head coach, and Andy's like, you know what? Someone's like, they just practice the gimmick plays. I'm like, well, they like those.
Andy actually said post-game they practice those a lot in short yardage plays. So
okay, but then why are they still, like, again, there's a real quick thing about anybody's job. I think this applies, like, I think sometimes you can't apply regular people's jobs or even our job or whatever to the National Football League, but in this case you can. Like, I'd say, Andrew, it's like from a cocktail making perspective. Like, it's very simple of...
Did you just call me the Patrick Mahomes of cocktails?
Yeah, but look at it this way. It's like if somebody is suggesting a new cocktail to you and they're suggesting 2 things that diametrically don't make sense, you're like, hold on, this doesn't make sense.
I wouldn't even act like I heard it.
If I told you Blake Bell to Rashee Rice is the play to save the game, no. Those are the wrong players. You're listing the wrong people to do the job.
I was texting a diehard buddy, Chiefs fan of mine that lives in New England, which you can imagine what that's like.
Okay, yeah.
That's going to be a whole nother... Well, it's going to be sweet now. It sucked probably for a while.
Oh, yeah, he loves it.
Probably
He loves
right now.
it. But he said, they're doing these gadget plays with these guys who are just not experienced enough to really operate on a level of flexibility that begs for. And that makes it tough.
It just, Andy Reid's a genius. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. He's one of the most creative offensive play callers. And that's what's so wild about it is that he has not figured out short yardage situation. And it's not, it's not a 1-year thing. They've had different left and right tackles, and they've struggled. They've had different running backs. They've struggled. They've had different wide receivers.
They've had Hall of Fame running backs, and they're still good. They're still bad at 3rd and 1.
It's wild to me.
I think he's trying to
outthink
outthink everyone. I honestly think it's this simple. For Andy Reid, outthinking is usually a great thing. He reinvents himself every offseason. He's never complacent. He chooses to be different. All those things are good for you from a year-to-year standpoint. It's bad in short yardage because it's not a complicated thing to figure out. Just stick Blaine Gabbert or Patrick Mahomes behind center, shove his ass forward.
I think so.
And call it a day. It's not a complicated thing. You don't have to, dig in deep or figure this thing out. Just running forward. Or, I don't know, you paid $1 million you paid tens of millions of dollars for this offensive line and draft picks. Just run Pacheco forward. I think it seems too easy. So he doesn't want to just try that 10 or 15 times in a row.
To me, that's play calling arrogance, though. Then that's the case,
yeah, some
right?
call it hubris on the text line. Same vibe.
Someone on the text line, by the way, said, "Hey, the NFL banned the Eagles tush push thing." No, they didn't. They talked about banning it, but it's not banned, which is why.
So until it's banned, do it.
Absolutely.
By the way, if they're talking about banning a rule and you aren't taking advantage of it, huge mistake. I feel like they're like, hey, we're thinking about banning pass interference. You're like, okay, better pass interference as much as we can. Doesn't matter. Until they get rid of the rule, that's why they.
Well, even the rules that do exist, I mean, they didn't start calling the false start until the end of the game.
Well, that was the whole Jawan Taylor. Yeah, that was the whole Jawan Taylor thing.
Today.
He is technically skirting the rule. So if you're fine with him skirting the rule, right at the precipice of
Did you
this
see
is a rule, but he's
J.J. Watt's
cheating it.
post about
No.
he just said like every outside lineman is doing this.
Yeah,
It
it's
is-
kind of a gray
It kind of is
area.
what it is. What do you?
It goes back to the 80s. Somebody pulled up all these old highlights of like where people used to line up in the 80s at right tackle.
It's like microseconds.
And that's exactly, and they're not going to call it. They're not going to call it 700 times in a row, so they're just going to let Jawan Taylor get away with it 99% of the time. If that's the case, who cares? He's taking it, but that's what I don't understand about the short yardage is like, why on this haven't you conformed to the rest of the NFL? You can be the same here, just in short yardage, just in this one instance. Everything else, cool. I like you being different.
It's unorthodox if you were to bring in your backup quarterback for a short yardage, but it's also unorthodox to never run a QB sneak. So bring in Gabbert. I'm with you, Cody. Bring in Gabbert, and you're like, well, then they know a QB sneak's happening. Yeah, but it's going to work like 90% of the time. And guess what? There's actually a small chance that you might end up passing the football because you have a quarterback still under center in Blaine Gabbert's case as well. It's Club 610 here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We got Andrew Olson from Rieger. I noticed, the Cowboys, of course, their quarterback, Dak Prescott, the story today is actually that he talked about being sedated for 11 hours to get a tattoo in the offseason. I bring this up because I noticed you got a couple tattoos.
If you're going to get knocked out for 11 hours, just don't get them?
11 hours for a tattoo?
So I shout out to Definitive Tattoo here in Kansas City.
Is that who did most of yours?
Yeah, the Mikey Ruck is my artist. I've known him since I was a little kid. My back, my whole back is done.
Okay, wow.
And the outline on my back took 8 hours alone.
Did you weren't sedated?
No, I was awake.
You watch like Netflix?
Their tattoo
I'm
shop
dead serious.
actually.
Like, do you like watch TV or something? I can't sit there for 8 hours. I get bored.
The shop's awesome. Every station is identical, and each station has a TV, and they're all synced to the same Apple TV.
Okay.
And so they'll pick like, hey, we're gonna do Robin Williams movies only, or they'll do, we're only doing movies today where there's a set of twins in it, or we're only gonna do movies today where it's satirical football comedies. Like they'll just do that all day long. So
they're choosing a theme.
It's cool. It's cool.
I actually do respect that because like I was just thinking we've talked about this on the show before, which is my problem is like if I had to sit with my own thoughts for 10 hours, that's
Trust
a bad
me.
place. Don't need to do that. I'm gonna go straight to therapy right after that. So let's not
thinking
do
about
that.
it.
I would like something else to distract me.
No matter what anybody says, they all hurt.
Yeah.
They all hurt.
Yeah, Dak, 10 hours he was sedated, or excuse me, 11 hours he was sedated to get a tattoo.
Yeah, usually what
offseason.
Yeah, usually what they'll do is they'll sedate him, and then there's 4 or 5 artists all working at the same time to cover as much of the body surface area as possible.
Does it seem wild to anyone else to get knocked out
Now, look,
just to
you
get
and
a
I
tattoo?
are-
I don't have a tattoo.
yeah, you and I are the wrong people here.
I'm not as
It's
against tattoos as you.
Well,
My big problem with
let me
tattoos.
hold on, let's rephrase that.
I
for
don't
a
think you would
second.
ever get a tattoo. I would consider it.
I would never get one. You say that because I've told you I'm not a huge fan of them. I would never get one. If someone else has one, it's fine. We were talking about the date. One day, Andrew, we were talking about dating, and I said if someone had tattoos all over their body, I probably wouldn't be interested.
I'm saying I don't care about that. I'm fine.
They gave
with
me
it.
a hard time for that. I was like, if you have a tattoo, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I'm saying like I don't care either way. I'm just like I've never gotten a tattoo because I fear the
regret.
Well, I fear the idea of like shouldn't it, like at least the first one shouldn't I have like some purpose behind it?
Sometimes I don't even know what I'm getting when I go in. I just kind of
Really?
let him do his thing, or I give him some
I
ideas
think
that I'm
once
looking
you got
for.
a few,
You
yeah.
know?
I think that first one though was it meaningful? Like the first one you got, it had some like.
I was in the Marine Corps before I was
Okay.
bartending, and it's the Marine Corps motto on my ribs.
Okay, awesome. That makes
like
sense
every
then.
other Marine on the planet.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
that the one?
it is always faithful in English versus Latin.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like if I'm gonna break the seal, I have to get it for something meaningful.
Hey, my mom got her first tattoo at 61.
Really?
So
Wow, my mom
it's
had
not too late.
My dad has 0 tattoos, but my mom had tattoos all growing up, and multiple of my siblings have tattoos.
I think again, I'm
never-
hearing team tattoos by the end of the year. That's what I heard.
Team. God, what are we gonna get? Cody and Gold. Just get our logo.
Oh
get
my
our logo
gosh.
tattooed on you.
Could you imagine?
If we made any kind of bet
Oh
like that,
my goodness.
that would be the. I have
Listen,
a bet
you
right
get
now.
you get gold on the inside of your lip, and he gets Cody on the
At least
inside
those
of his
fade away,
lip.
right?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah,
no
good
one,
luck.
no one ever sees
Because-
it.
See, you get.
I'm sweating a Colt Reagan's bet that might cost me a bottle of Dom.
Yeah, we've got.
And I don't, let alone a tattoo.
There's a Royals pitcher, Jordan Lyles, who's been pretty rough, to say the least, this year.
been a lot better.
And at one point, he had no wins going into, early June or something like that, mid-June, maybe later.
Yeah.
And so we said if he gets to 6 wins, Cody's going to buy a bottle of Dom for the show.
And I said this when he had
one. And
Literally
he's
had
got
one.
4, and he's got about 3 or 4 starts left. We need to get to 6.
He just started a game on Wednesday, and it was a good sweat for about 5 or 6 innings, and then he blew it. I was like, oh. And our whole Royals Insiders thing is like, he thinks that I should still get it, but he added a whole nother rule that he thinks that I shouldn't get to have it. Like, I should still have to get it, but you're not even allowed to enjoy it. I was like, but this was all behind the point of supporting him.
Uh-huh.
Although, in fairness, I think out of all of us who would have it, I'm the only one who's actually had Dom.
Yeah,
at some point in my
I've
life.
never had Dom. But be
I think
honest,
you
though,
work
does
in-
it taste much different than your...
It's better than...
How much
I mean,
different? Well,
I
not-
would say it's not way better than, like, if you're drinking, like, Vouv or whatever.
In your mind, what
But if
is
it's better than Cook's...
your comparison?
you know, like...
I mean, honest, I probably...
Better
Champagne,
than
pretty basic, like
La Marca.
a $20 bottle of champagne.
But
I
it's a
mean,
lot better than that.
La Marca's Prosecco, it comes from Italy. Dom comes from France. It's from Champagne.
Yeah.
The quality of grape is different. I mean, we could. That's a whole nother hour. That's the hour after this.
Yeah. We can get real deep into it. It is the first time I ever had it. I was working at Skies, the old revolving restaurant at the Hyatt. And somebody ordered it because their daughter graduated like a chemical engineering degree at college. And he's like, get a bottle. I'm like, respect it. Good choice.
How about this?
We
Next
brought-
time I come in, we'll
Okay.
do a cocktail with champagne in it.
Perfect.
Ooh, there we go.
Perfect. I like
But
that.
so
Now it's a party.
they ordered it. They poured a half a glass for the 3 people at the table, and they're like, we don't like it. And I was like, is it bad? Like, because that's the question you ask.
It
Like,
could be.
hey, is it skunked? Is there a problem,
Yeah.
right? Like, whatever.
Doesn't
And they're
happen
like,
often, but
No,
it happens.
we just don't like it. And I was like, well, let me do you a favor. I'm going to bag this thing up. I'm going to get it ready. There's got to be someone who would like to share this $300 bottle of champagne. They're like, nah, we're good. I was like, well, we're just going to drink this in the back. So I guess I'll see you later. That was the first time we had it. That was the first time I'd ever had it.
Club 610 here on Cody and Gold. We got Andrew Olson from Jay Rieger in studio with us. I noticed you guys had a really cool event maybe 2 weeks ago, or a week or so ago. You guys had someone in. You guys doing some whiskey tasting, but someone well-renowned whiskey tasting.
Fred Minnick.
Yeah. What was up with that?
Yeah, Fred Minnick. He was a longtime writer, blogger in the spirits world, and now has his own kind of award platform called the Ascot Awards. And Kansas City Whiskey actually was voted and awarded Best American Whiskey in the U.S.
Wow. Okay.
So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, Fred was here in town. We did book signings with him. We did a blind tasting with all of our products, and then he picked his favorite at the end, which he blindly chose Kansas City Whiskey, which he had just awarded, which was awesome.
Makes sense.
Perfect, yeah.
And they did a brunch with him as well. Did I take you guys into the barrel room? The
Yes,
secret?
I've been in there. Yep.
Yeah, so
Yes.
they did like a brunch with Fred Minnick in the barrel
That
room.
room's really cool, though. It's just this all-glass room, right?
Let's do a Club
And-
16 from there.
Yeah, just do it right in there.
Classy.
That's a cool place.
It's very quiet.
It does feel like you would want to like smoke a cigar in there, though, and I'm assuming that's the rules.
Yeah.
No. I still need to go downstairs, though.
Hey, Hey Club.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's the speakeasy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you
That's-
haven't been there yet?
I haven't.
Oh, man,
That's
you're
still the
missing
spot
out.
I gotta check
So
out.
let's get Alex a date. Will you help him out? If he will agree to date during football season, will you just like set him up with one small table in the Hey Hey Club for a night?
Absolutely.
Just like,
100%.
like a small, just a little tab. Just get on the apps, find a girl who wants to go to the Hey Hey Club.
We have champagne by the glass in the Hey
You
Hey
got
Club.
champagne.
So,
Yeah, we'll get you some champagne.
And caviar. You're doing champagne and caviar.
Wow, classy.
Well, I haven't been. I've only been
Have
to
you
one.
ever had caviar?
I haven't had caviar. I've only been to one speakeasy in my life, actually. I think it's closed now, though.
Wait, what
Here in
was it?
Kansas City.
Manifesto.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
well,
obviously
that-
there's a connection
Yep.
right
Did
there.
you realize that there was
I know.
I was gonna say, Ryan, maybe all those people.
That's a connection. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually how I was introduced to the brand. I was working at the Rieger restaurant, similar bar staff, same company. So
Awesome.
that's kind of how I got
Okay.
introduced to Jay Rieger. I was actually bartending on the night of the day one of Jay Rieger, October 20th, 2014.
That's where I had an anniversary dinner. Was at the Rieger restaurant.
October 2014 was a big month for Kansas City, especially in sports.
Yeah.
No
We didn't win that
No
World
kidding.
Series,
No,
but man, it felt good.
It did. Andrew, appreciate it, man. Really good stuff.
for
Fantastic
having me.
cocktail again. Andrew Olson from Jay Rieger and Company. It's been the Club 610 every Friday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock here, 1 o'clock hour, presented by Jay Rieger and Co. It's going to be okay. All right, we're going to get through the weekend, get set for the
Relax, go watch
Jaguars.
some other NFL,
Hopefully
yeah.
Chris Jones signs a contract this weekend or something like that. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. Enjoy the weekend.